Yes. I know I'm supposed to be on vacation. I'm supposed to be on sabbatical from the Black Comic Lords. I'm supposed to leave you people behind and let you fend for yourselves. But I realized our boy Geoffrey Thorne's book X-Force #1 was dropping this week. I could not let that opportunity to talk to Jeff about his newest work at Marvel pass without me bringing him on. It just wasn't going to happen. He's a fellow Black Comic Lord. He's part of the squad. Handshake, everything. Those of you who know us know that how much we appreciate his writing. And I'm a big X-Force guy. I got like just about every issue of every volume. That's kind of sick. So, with that being said, let's bring on Mr. Geoffrey Thorne.
Wow. Hello. What's up?
Jeff, how you doing, man?
I was nervous as hell this morning, but I'm feeling good now.
Nervous as hell? Not about this.
Yeah, not about the show, but the book dropped, and I was telling some people it happens every time. I do all this stuff, different venues, whatever. But for some reason, whenever I drop a new start of a comic book, I get nervous. Like, I don't get nervous about TV. I don't get nervous about books. But for whatever reason, when a new comic I'm writing comes out, I'm like, I'm standing backstage going, so, but I feel good now. Like, people seem to dig it. And
I have read the book.
Okay.
Let's bring this book up. I've read this book. Let's go to this. This is a dope book. I'm not saying that just because you're on the show. I actually read the book. Because, Black Comic Lords, we actually read the books. So, yeah, I read it. As I said, I'm a longtime X-Force fan. There's a long history of X-Force books. I mean, look at this history. Going all the way back to New Mutants 98. Then we have, Deadpool's first appearance was in New Mutants when X-Force was being formed. He's had a long history being involved with X-Force, even joining the team at one point. There have been a lot of iterations of X-Force. The most consistent thing I've always seen in X-Force is that, especially in their early iterations in the 90s, it's like you had the X-Men and they were the superheroes, and X-Factor kind of worked with the government. Excalibur was off. They're the European X-Men, so to speak. But X-Force, they're like the badass hardcore version of the X-Men. I remember reading one issue where X-Force had moved into Xavier's mansion because their base had gotten destroyed. So they moved in with the X-Men. And they're in the danger room. And Hank McCoy's watching the X-Force train in the danger room. And they're like, well, Hank, why are you watching them? He's like, well, because I realize these kids at their age are like 10 times more powerful and more deadly than we ever were at their age. They're like ridiculously overpowered and they have a really bad attitude. I'm a little bit scared of them. And he said something to that. And so X-Force has changed over the years. And what I found is my first impression of your book on this is that it's most similar to this version I see in the lower right-hand corner, the Cable and X-Force version.
Okay.
Because that iteration actually had 2 science guys on it. It had Forge, which is in this book. It also had Dr. Nemesis. So that was the first time you had brains on the team on X-Force. So with your version, what would you say your version is more like?
Planetary.
Can you describe your version of X-Force?
Ours is more like if you have Planetary and Challengers of the Unknown mixed together. It is not necessarily just Marvel Universe to me is a science-based universe. It's a science fiction universe that has magic in it.
Yeah.
Right. The DC universe is a fantasy-based universe that has some science fiction in it, to me.
It's a good analysis.
Okay, so we will be running all over the place. And one of the fun things about Marvel is that a great deal of Marvel's, let's just say 616 for now, the main universe of Marvel, it goes back a lot longer than most current fans probably are aware. Marvel Comics existed before the Fantastic Four. And so there's all kinds of crap that got swept under the rug over the decades that either got picked up and dropped, or, hey, that was dope, but nobody remembers it, or, whatever it is, either a place or a person or an event or something like that. And I just thought it would be neat to explore some of that stuff when I pitched this concept to Tom Brevoort. So at that time, it was very much like a straight up Planetary book with Forge as the sort of Mr. Snow type of character, and Sage is sort of Jaquita Wagner slot. Well, thank you. Hope you dig it. Over time, in conversation with them, it got expanded out, and there was going to be, I think, a team of like 7 main operatives, some crazy number. And then we got put on the back burner for a while because it features Forge. He's not a marquee A-list character, and they had, at that time, I didn't know anyway. They might have known, but nobody knew what was going to happen with the Krakoa era. Didn't know if it was ending. I mean, I certainly did not. But Tom had come in to take over at the X office, so I would presume that there were going to be changes. But X-Force is not X-Men, right? The big changes are going to be like, we got to handle all these X-Men books. So we'll get to you, Jeff. It didn't even have a name yet. The story didn't even have a name yet at that time. So I went back to the drawing board and started to figure out, okay, well, how will I fit it into all the stuff Tom just told me, sort of what's kind of going on, right? And this is all, no idea Krakoa is going to come to an end, right? So a couple months later, while I've been doing all of that on my own, Mark Basso comes up and he's like, yo, could this be X-Force? I read all the notes you've been passing on. Talked to Tom about it. You think this could be X-Force? And I was like, yeah, I was having a hard time coming up with a name for the book. But yeah, let's call it X-Force. So let's go. Because it has people who were in X-Force in it. So why not? Right? Bearing in mind, this is not a kill squad. This is not that X-Force. It is not the kick in a wall and kill the dictator of whatever country or murder the person. It isn't that. That is not our mission. We're doing other crap, like a whole bunch of other crap, because we're just forming a team this time. And well, personally, I don't believe any quote unquote superhero should be on a kill team. That's the way I look at it. I'm not generally writing about assassins in that way.
The way that you have this written, with them using science to tackle, Earth problems, big problems.
Yes.
Seems much more like the Ultimates.
It is in a way. I'm trying for a vibe, definitely. And the idea basically is there's a whole lot of crap going on Marvel Earth that nobody cares or knows about. Partly because fans don't remember. The company doesn't really remember. But partly because there's just a lot of stuff going on. Like a lot, And whenever you're coming up with these teams, why do we have the Teen Titans and the Justice League? The Justice League is like all the big guns. Can't they just handle everything? Like, what do they need the Titans for? You got to come up with a reason for the Titans to be there and be necessary. So in this case, people have read the book or will read the book. Forge does something to his own superpowers that allows him to perceive something that he was not able to perceive before. And he's like, oh, snap. Well, now that I see it, my mutation forces me to make a fix. Like, I wanted to explore the idea that mutations are not just, oh, here's a guy who's got superpowers, that there are drawbacks. There are many, many drawbacks.
We'll get into that part in just a little bit. I want to first talk about, what happened? Looks like he dropped. Why don't we go to a commercial, Mr. Producer, while we get Jeff back?
When you go to an art museum and you see pictures on the wall, what do you think? I can tell you that a picture cannot audibly speak anything. Yet you will be challenged to find something, however, that doesn't speak louder. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. That is how I justify buying black books at times solely for their covers. Sure, I would love for the story inside to be amazing. I would love for the writing to capture my attention and hold my thoughts for ransom. Yet I have experienced a world of story in an image. I am drawn in by drawings and pulled in by paintings, not having an inkling of the message communicated by the ink. For my mind has made up its own mind, and it has told me it does not care what the artist creates, for I, a created being, see me in the work. I see my babies, I see my ladies, I see my brothers, I see my fathers, I see my people, I see my equals, I see everything and anything and something completely different from you and you too. We see the same shapes and colors, but not the same images. Beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder, for I beheld a canvas that canvassed my heart and mind, giving me peace, giving me sadness, and giving me anger, giving me love and giving me hope. So when I see comic books with a face like me, I see a story where half the story has yet to be told, because truly it can't. After all, a picture is worth 1,000 words. After all, a picture
There you are.
is worth. Hey, I got feedback of some kind going on.
That's weird. Do you have it playing on YouTube or anything on your end?
Let me get rid of YouTube and see what.
Yeah, turn off the YouTube. That's what usually causes that.
When
That's weird.
oh, wait a minute. That's it. Got it.
Playing on YouTube.
I got it.
Yeah, I make that mistake all the time.
So-
But anyway, back to your book.
Solved. Okay.
So you have this roster.
Yeah. So the idea here is Forge does this weird thing to his powers. He can't not do the course of action that they're taking. Yes, he got a power upgrade, but what you'll come to realize is that, is he driving or are his powers driving? We don't know. We'll start to figure that out over the course of the thing. And he puts this team together, people he's worked with before, people that he knows what their capabilities are. And that, again, Forge is smart, and he's sometimes been played as if he's a scientist, but people have to remember, Forge's mutation is not knowledge, right? It's not like he could write you a physics textbook. He just goes, oh, there's a problem. Let me go build a machine for that. And then he goes and builds the machine. But he himself could not necessarily tell you everything about the machine that he just built. He just knows that it will work because he's Forge, right? His mutation allows him to build these things. So in the same way that a super speedster, technically, can they really run fast, or do they access an energy source that no one else can access that allows them to defy the laws of physics? Could they tell you how to catch up with them? No. They like, how do you run that fast? I just do. You know, so that's kind of what I'm doing with Forge and his powers. And the rest of
I love how in the book you also say that Forge's creation of the team and the selection of the members was him building its own machine to solve a problem.
Right. The word machine has a lot of meanings, right? And the idea is that anything can have several working parts, right? As long as it adds up to the whole. And that's another expansion of what Forge can do. He doesn't have to go build you an engine. He can make people into the machine that he wants, right? He can change the systems, societies into the machine he wants, given the right tool set, right? So we will begin to explore that. This is an academic kind of discussion, a kind of conversation that's fairly dry, right? But the way it will be played out will be, people will be constantly asking Forge, what the hell are you doing this for? Why? What? Why? Okay, look, stop. What? Like that. So it's not going to be just like, oh, we accept that this new wrinkle. It's people are going to question him all the time because the weirder the stories get, the more weird the people in it are going to be like, I'm here for what reason? Why are we doing? Oh, damn, like that. So,
Forge builds something.
Yes.
What is this object that he's built?
The analog. The analog is. We talked about this a little bit off screen. People forget the cosmic cube was built by human beings, right? If you only watch the movies, you think that the Tesseract, the cosmic cube, is some sort of weird object that's out there and it was made by Titanic beings or whatever. No, a bunch of human scientists built the freaking cosmic cube, a reality altering device that if you hold it and want something, it happens. Like, that's crazy time. That's that Jack Kirby, Stan Lee era of comics. So basically, Forge built a Jack Kirby device. Okay, the analog tracks events. It says the world is made up of a spider web of these sort of space-time lines, and they all cross together, right? And theoretically, they make a net or a web, and everything's fine. But my device shows me that everything's breaking. These things are fracturing, they're splintering, they're not behaving the way they're supposed to behave. And each one of these nodes, each one of these fractures, if allowed to grow, will turn into Galactus shows up, will turn into Inferno, will turn into the Phalanx. Each one is completely different, and we don't know what we're going to get when we get there. All we know is that here in this moment in space, some crap's about to pop off, and this is the team that can.
What I love is that you just gave this very simple explanation as to what's going on, but within the book itself, you get very sciencey. I mean, you got this term where you're saying plotting D time coordinates, 50 complex tracking, and she's going, "Are these ley lines?" And like,
yeah,
I watch Star Trek. I know what she means by ley lines. Does the average person know this? Why is Geoffrey Thorne going into such detail? How is he able to do this? How brilliant is he?
Stop it. Now, just stop it. Hold it. I have Google too, man. But listen, the idea here is that when we meet Sage, Krakoa went down, man. Like, Marvel made the choice that Krakoa is still in canon. So everything that happened. Okay, good and bad. Everybody who died and got resurrected, Everybody who died and didn't is dead. Like, that event occurred, and all the weird things that happened in the world because Krakoa existed. Well, Krakoa is gone, but that doesn't mean people forgot Krakoa. Like, everybody that was pissed off at Krakoa is still pissed off. There's just no Krakoa to be pissed off at anymore, right? So the way I looked at Sage was her power set. I think people have misunderstood over the years, at least the way it was described. Her brain is so big and so fast and has so much information processing in it at all times that the downside of that is she would have to have some kind of mechanism to organize it all, right? It's just one human mind, but it has to do all this galactic level crap all the time, which is what her mutation is. So she can do it, but every once in a while, some event or something will happen that knocks her off her pins, and then she's just in the storm in her head, right? And this time around, that was Krakoa. She should have predicted everything that happened. Her power set allows her not in a I can see the future kind of way, but in a I can track every variable. I can track.
Look at probabilities.
Right. I look at every probability and go in 5 minutes X. And I mean, like, in 5 minutes, that lady across the street is going to pick up her teacup. That's how big Sage's brain is, as described, not by me, by her established power parameters, right? So Krakoa fell apart. People died. A whole stack of mutants went off to another dimension and are never coming back, apparently. Like, and she didn't predict none of that. Not one bit. She missed all of it. She missed 100% of all of that. And she shouldn't have, based on her power set. So it messes her up.
Hence the nervous breakdown and why we see her with Forge finding her in a mental hospital.
Right. That's right. So, well, I'm not going to comment on that. But the thing that snaps her out of it is he shows her this object that technically should not exist. And she looks at it, and as soon as she looks at it, its complexity makes her go, wait, oh, I'm back.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much going on in that little ball. She's like, what is that? And instantly she's back to normal. But it's not a cure. It's just the way her mutation works. Right? So now she's back to herself. She's fixed.
Because it allows her brain to focus on something.
That's right. She was able to focus on something of so much complexity that it was able to power her down a bit and make her come back to herself. Right? And that's what Forge figured out. If I just show her this, she'll probably snap out or whatever the hell's going on with her. So, and she did. So that's the team. That's the central part of the team.
So let's talk about these other team members. You brought in two members that are basically the heavy hitters of the team in terms of their power sets, very similar powers. You've got Betsy Braddock, and you've got what's the name she's going by now?
Betsy is Captain Britain, and Rachel is Ascani.
Ascani. She's going by Ascani now. I was about to call her Phoenix, but then there was another name, Prestige. Phoenix. I think she was going by at one point, which is a terrible name.
Yes.
Yeah, so Ascani. Yeah, Ascani.
They call her Marvel Girl for 5 minutes, wasn't she?
Yeah, they call her Marvel Girl. She's had more names than anybody.
So we're going to say, but all these people know each other, so those code names almost never come up.
Right.
Like
so, anyway. Rachel Summers and Betsy Braddock. I'll just stick with those.
Yeah, Lady Braddock and her girlfriend Rachel.
They're a couple now, but their power sets, as I said, are very similar. Both telekinetics, both telepaths.
Yes, they are similar. We're going to deal with that in this episode. And the answer is there will be black characters, but none are on the team right now.
Okay.
That's the best.
So there will be some in the future.
Oh, there are going to be a stack of black characters in the series. If you're looking for members of X-Force, not immediately, no. But if you're worried that there's not going to be black people of charisma and power and interest, I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Just check out issue 2.
Yeah, you'll come back for issue 2 and see what we got for you.
All right. So you got the two of them. You've also got
what's her name? Quanon is Psylocke.
Yeah. Quanon and Betsy Braddock have been split.
Yeah.
So they are two separate people again.
Right.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, reference X-Men 266, somewhere around there, somewhere between 256 and 268. Uncanny X-Men, the original Chris Claremont, Jim Lee run, in which you kind of learn the origin of how Betsy Braddock became Psylocke. She was merged with a Japanese ninja assassin of the hand called Quanon, who was a latent mutant. It was a whole thing, but they've been separated now.
Yeah. So Betsy is Captain Britain, Quanon is Psylocke.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So now we've got, speaking of Japanese people, we've got one of my favorite mutants who is really severely underutilized.
Well, she's about to get her flowers.
Mori, aka Surge.
Surge. Yeah.
Talk about Surge. What's her power set?
Surge's powers is she channels ambient electricity, whatever's in the world. But she had a problem in which people may not remember. Forge built those metal things on her arms to help her control the fact that she was just constantly overamped with electric energy. It allows her to shoot electricity, obviously allows her to walk into, I don't know, like if there was an electrical generator that was blowing up, she could just walk in and like go turn the levers and electricity doesn't hurt her. And she can move super fast. Like she has super speed because of the electricity. I would say she's able to run about Mach 2 if she needs to.
Really? I didn't know it was that fast.
Well, that was back in the day. When she first got introduced, she was a student, but it's been a minute. So there's no way that her powers just stayed down there at the bottom. She knows how to use her stuff. So there's a couple of things she does in this issue that I'm sure people will be like, can she do that? And I'm like, well, what is it you think you're seeing? 1 and 2. Yep. Yes, she can do that now. And we're going to let her flex in this book. She is going to flex.
For those who want more background on Surge, check out the run called New X-Men.
Yeah.
New X-Men. I think it was New X-Men Volume 1.
Yeah. New X-Men Academy. All those kids were great, and they never got the kind of shine that I felt like they deserved.
They really should be the current X-Men that we have in the books now, but I'm not an editor, so I can't say anything.
Yeah, I agree with that comment. All I can tell you is there has been a lot of conversation backstage between all of the X writers about that.
Really?
And I did not start that conversation. There's a lot of
who started that conversation? It was me trolling Marvel every day on Twitter about their lack of representation in the X offices.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversation about that and what to do about it, how best to affect that. I can tell you. I like
to hear that.
Yeah, this is a good group of people. It was not I did not bring this up, right? I'm thinking about X-Force. I ain't thinking about all this big stuff. But we'll talk about it. We have been talking about it. We are currently talking about it. What will
it's definitely an issue.
Yep.
I think what may have caused, in all honesty, a resurgence of the conversation on that particular topic, when they were closing the Krakoa era, an artist who I really like a lot, Luciano Vecchio, did a cover, poster type wraparound cover. Yeah, it got a lot of flack on social media because I think they only had one Black Mutant on the entire cover. And if you read the Krakoan era of X-Men, there was a lot of Black Mutants, a lot.
Yeah,
in those
they were around, but
like all over the place.
Yeah, here's the problem with the mutants, and it's one that I've had for a long time, and for which I got in trouble on the internet for because I said Wanda was right. Get rid of most of these mutants. Okay, but the problem is both Claremont himself and many writers since Claremont, when they show up, they just make up new mutants. So now, and not only do they make up new mutants that we're going to focus on, some of them make up whole countries full of mutants. Some of them make up an asteroid full of mutants where they've always been here. You just didn't know, And I'm like, that is the laziest and ultimately franchise killing thing to do. Because now, every time you see a new character like that, it's fine for the 5 minutes, but there's people who've invested in there. I'm right now tracking all these conversations about, oh my God, what's Thorne going to do with Betsy Braddock? She's not getting, they've been messing her up, and why isn't she Psylocke? And I'm like, wow, y'all, really? All this for Betsy? Damn. There's people who are like, finally, Surge is back. And I'm like, really? I thought I was the only one who remembered Surge. Holy crap, right? But
my biggest gripe at the X offices is they have so many characters to work with, and they hardly ever tap into the box.
Well, I don't know. See, it's weird because I used to be the big firebrand all the time about these issues. And now that I'm writing, it sounds like I got converted or something. The truth is that these are people who are not going to think about that. Okay. For the most part, you need people backstage to bring up these things. And for most of the history of the books, nobody was back there bringing them up. These are the people who had the nerve to say that Professor X was Martin Luther King and Magneto was Malcolm X. And I'm like, there were clearly no brothers in that room when you came up with that nonsense. Are you crazy? No. But there's no one there to tell them no. So why would they think otherwise, right? Now we got a lot more folks like that, right? Of all stripes. We got queer people, we got brown people, Black people, Asian Americans, Asians. Like we got this. It's not dominant force, but at least those voices are in the space now. I'm one of those voices from time to time. And all we can do is hope that we are listened to. We don't have the decision-making power to say, and I'm not a big fan of like, well, where's the all Black anything? There needs to be a reason. Like the crew in Marvel Comics should be a combination of Latin and Black New Yorkers. I don't know why it's not obvious to everyone, and maybe some Asian Americans, depending what the current mix, maybe Middle Eastern, whatever the current mix of real New York is, that's what the street level New York, that's what the crew should be. Okay. But I don't know why there aren't, were there 37 countries in Africa or something like that, right? Across the continent. And none of them have their own super team. None of them have their own Batman. Like, really?
It defies probability,
right?
And that's what I'm talking about. Is it's not about as you said. For me, it's not about having an all Black team all the time. That
Right.
doesn't make sense. It's like the other scale of having an all-white team all the time. Have it.
What's up, baby? What's up, Sean?
Is that Sean Damian Hill? Hey, what's up? How you doing, Sean? Yeah, but it's like, it should look. What is the phrase that Marvel always prides itself on?
World
It's
outside.
the world outside your window.
Right. Well,
You got to live by that. You can't just say that.
you got to open the window all the way, pull the drapes,
get
a bigger window. Right.
pull the drapes, open the blinds, look
right.
at the entire window, and
right.
make your world actually reflect that.
Right. And it's not hard.
That's all I ask.
We doing that thing, man. We just doing that thing. So
yeah, we do need an African super team. It's overdue.
An African super team. We should have like 37 African super teams. There are a bunch of countries.
Yeah, African super team would imply an entire continent, which is crazy. There should be at least several African countries that have their own super teams.
As soon as Wakanda opened the doors and said, "Oh, this is how we do it," everybody else should have been terrified and gone, "We need some superheroes."
How the hell is Wakanda not have a super team?
Again,
you have a king that literally loves to gallivant the world because he says being a superhero is important, but he ain't never take his team
I like
mutants and made them into it. He haven't done that.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but I think it's not fair. Most of these people are of goodwill, right? I can't speak for all of them because I've met all of them. Some of them might be dickheads. I don't know, but you have to have the inclination to look at something. And if you've got a room full of people who are all of the same background or similar background, it's not that they're being racist or being sexist specifically. It's that many, 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 many things will never occur to them. They just will never cross anybody's mind.
Yeah.
Right?
When you're in your own little bubble, you tend to not really have any.
And it's a safe, happy bubble, and you don't even realize it's a bubble. And that's just what it is. But it isn't some aggressive, screw those people who don't look like me. He says, I don't know any folks like that. So it just doesn't cross my mind. I'll tell you, I'll make it myself. How many stories am I setting on mainland China? 0. I don't know anybody on mainland China. I would have to do a lot of research, and the idea would have to occur to me, which it probably won't. Right? So what you need is a diverse group of people backstage. You need people in the executive suite, you need people in the editorial place, and you need creatives. All of it, not just creatives, because we don't have the kind of power the audience thinks. You guys don't know what I've pitched. You don't know all the stuff that I've pitched, and it gets shot down for various reasons. Right?
We're going to talk about that at the end of the show. I want to talk to you about it.
Okay. My point is, we're back on X-Force. I could go.
We're back on X-Force. We're back on X-Force. And so we're talking about your roster.
Right.
And you have the world's biggest movie right now, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
I haven't seen it. Don't spoil it. I've not seen it.
Well, I'm just saying that's the world's biggest movie. You must have known the timing of when this book was dropping, because Deadpool goes, "Oh yeah, you guessed it. It's the unofficial movie tie-in."
Yes. Well, yes. We knew that the Deadpool movie was coming. I have not seen it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what the plot is or who all things are. But we know Deadpool's in it.
It's a lot of fun. You need to go see the movie. It's a lot of fun.
So the editors came to me and they basically said, hey, we might want to do some Deadpool tie-ins, not just covers. Do you feel like including Deadpool in the book? And I was like, I'm not really the biggest long-term Deadpool fan. Like, a little Deadpool goes a really long way. Like, I like the movies, and then I can wait 2 years for the next movie. I don't need to see a lot of it. But they're like, well, yeah, but if you can, shove them in the group based on how you said the team was going to be set up. Anyway, there's a space there where we could just bring them in if we want to, right? And I was like, yeah, sure. Do you care what I do with them? Like, they were like, basically, just don't kill him. Right? And I was like, don't kill him.
Pause. Let's focus on that for a second. They said you could do whatever you want, just don't kill him. The reason I'm laughing right now is spoilers, but what you do to him in this book really makes that last point hit home. I am not going to spoil it for y'all watching this who have not read this book yet, but read the book and you'll understand how powerful that statement. Wow.
So yeah, so Deadpool's in it. I figured a couple of ways you could kill Deadpool, but they ain't gonna happen in this book. But he's hard to kill.
You don't kill Deadpool, but wow.
Yeah. So yeah. So we had some fun with Deadpool. And I have
for someone who's not a fan of Deadpool, you wrote him very well, by the way.
Well, a little. I can do Deadpool in short doses. I could never write a Deadpool book. There's no way I could do it. I could get my head around it for about 5 minutes, and then I would kill myself. Like I can't handle it.
Right. Shout out to Cody Ziegler for writing.
Yeah. Go Cody. So he's in it. He's briefly in it. He got paid his money. And whatever with that. And part of it was to show exactly what you're working with this version of Forge, too. Like what happens to Deadpool in this story tells you what Forge is about in this show, in this book.
Right.
Like if you don't get what deck Forge is playing from this issue, then you are not paying attention. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact Forge is a character who I think has not been properly explored. From just his power set alone should have him at pretty much, we use this term all the time about being an Omega level mutant. But if your power is to build any machine to solve any problem, there's no end to that.
That's
he can
correct.
literally build a machine for anything, and she just has to focus on it.
He's limited by his materials. Basically.
Right. He's only limited by his own body in terms of his power set.
Or like if a element does not exist, he would have to either create that element or he couldn't build them.
Spoilers, Mr. Thorne. What are you
doing? So yeah. So
all right. So yeah, I mean, but I love the fact that the way what you just said, how he deals with Deadpool shows a level of pragmatism in that character that I think will reflect upon his leadership style as the leader of this team and how he chooses to approach certain problems, that pragmatism that he has.
Yeah, he's frosty. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
Forge is about the job.
All right. So this other character underneath Deadpool is a new character, right?
Tank.
Yeah. Is Tank.
Tank.
This is his first appearance?
Tank is tanking the team called X-Force.
Has he ever appeared in a book before this issue?
I mean, have you ever seen this man before?
I have never seen this costume on this individual before.
I don't know what to tell you, brother.
All right.
What to tell
all right. You. Well, that's all I will say on that.
Look, y'all keep thinking whatever you want to think. It's going to go left in about 4 minutes.
Wow.
My boy Tank or my girl.
Every X squad has to have a big bruiser type, and he is that type for this team. That's literally all we know about this character.
And that is his function. Tank's function is to be that dude, basically. I can't say too. It's not even that I can't say too much. I'm trying to be cute about it, but I don't want to tell you. Why would I go to all the trouble?
No spoilers. No spoilers.
And then just tell you who it is. So, am I introducing new characters? Absolutely, I'm introducing new characters. You will meet at least one new character in issue 2.
And we'll talk about that in a sec.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about every X team has to have a big bad to fight. Who is this big blue bad that they have to fight? What can you tell us about that?
Complicated. You don't need to know all of this. This is what a geek I am. Okay. But what you're going to find in this book, and it's a hint, so get ready. What you're going to find reading this book is this is a character. That monster is a character from Marvel Comics. And I looked up the thing because I had forgotten what it is. But his character is called Taboo. And he was from, I'm going to say Strange Tales number 60, where it was back in 1960. And he is a monster, an alien monster. Okay, and in that story, he attacked the Earth, and it's a one-shot, right? So back in those days, Stan and Jack were just doing monsters, and there'd be one story per issue, and whatever the problem was got solved in the story, right? But in this story, somebody got a hold of that DNA. We don't know who that was. Who cares? But at some point, some of that DNA got left behind, and this creature is the result of messing with that DNA. So if you want to go look up Taboo, put in the title of the script is called The Thing from the Murky Swamp. And
Okay.
that's how deep we're going to roll in this book. That was made in 1960 in like Strange Tales or Tales of Mystery or whatever the hell the book was called. And we're going to be having a lot more folks like that, not specifically monsters, but stuff like that's going to be popping up. So buckle the hell up. That's what
I love when writers pluck into the Marvel, dust off the old Marvel encyclopedia and pull out obscure characters from the past.
Yep.
I'm 100% for that. I'm 100% for that.
Man-Thing is coming up. Man-Thing is coming up. Man-Thing is coming up. When I sent that script across, they were like, Man-Thing, dude. And I was like, hey, what I look like. But I'm not going to confirm or deny the identity of Tank at this time. Wow. Y'all keep guessing. Somebody will be
that's
right.
That's why the Black Comic Lords have the best comic book fans out there. You got people talking about Bulwark. You got Pericles talking about Tank and Eve Ewing's Ironheart run.
Called Tank and
Our fans are knowledgeable. They read. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate each and every one of y'all.
The way they took that dude out was pretty raw. I mean, that was well written. That the villain defeat was pretty good. All
right, so
I'm not answering your question, sir. Okay.
At the end of this book, I'm not going to talk about what happened in the book because you need to read the book.
Right, go read it, buy it, pre-order it.
But because I am a huge Black Panther fan.
You are,
and to be specific, I am a huge fan of your King in Black Panther one shot, which I deem to be, as I've said repeatedly on the show, the best Black Panther one shot that's ever been written.
Well, damn, that's high praise. I love writing that. I love writing
that, and you're also, what many people don't know, season 5 of Avengers Assemble was a Black. It's called Avengers Assemble. It's not really Avengers Assemble. It's really a Black Panther cartoon. They just called it Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
Panther's Quest.
Yeah.
Geoffrey Thorne was a writer on that, and the world building he did on that was tremendous. If you are a Black Panther fan, I highly recommend you watch season 5 of Avengers Assemble. You will see Wakandan lore, history, just background on the character himself. A lot of stuff that should be in the comics or the MCU was in that series. They basically said, Jeff, what do we want to write? And he just let his imagination go.
I wish it was that easy. Damn. But yeah, we had a good time. I wish the animation.
But the point I'm trying to make is that Jeff is not afraid to world build. And so he did a little bit of world building with just a few words on these pages. He mentions here, as you in the picture on the left, the bottom I circled it, the boots are laced with artificial vibranium, pseudonium, forged tech patent. It eats vibration, redistributes kinetic energy to our suits. Did you just invent that?
Yeah.
You invented pseudonium.
Yep.
So tell us, what is pseudonium?
Pseudonium is to metals, or I guess elements, or like that. It is what unstable molecules are to cloth. Currently, in this particular circumstances, Forge made a version of pseudonium that mimics vibranium. Doesn't mean it's exactly the same as vibranium, but it basically does what vibranium basically does in this system. But if he needed it to be adamantium, then he would apply a different process to the pseudonium, and out would come adamantium armor, or something very, very, very close to adamantium armor. So maybe Wolverine could cut it because that's real adamantium, but anything less than actual adamantium isn't going to put a dent
So it's a metal that can become whatever it can simulate any metal that Forge chooses to simulate.
Forge, because he knows the process to make those changes. Like if you just got some raw pseudonium, maybe Reed Richards could do something with it. Like T'Challa might be able to do something with it, but your average scientist is going to be stumped.
So it's in essence like unstable molecules or something.
Yeah, it's like unstable molecules, right? How does the Human Torch's or the Invisible Woman's clothing not disappear forever, or why does it disappear when she disappears? And
right.
The Torch's costume doesn't just burn off, and yet they're made out of the same material, unstable molecules, right? It's the same thing with pseudonium, right?
Well, I'm glad you gave that explanation, because if you invented artificial vibranium, Forge's team would immediately come under the ear of the Black Panther and Wakandans, which would immediately try to kill them all.
Try it.
Yeah, I think they'd be successful.
Bring a lunch. You might win, but bring a lunch. I got a Phoenix on my team, and we broke that last Phoenix killer. So, okay. Yeah, it isn't even like that.
So says the guy who invented the literal Phoenix killer.
No, it isn't even like that. Like Forge, I want to explore, none of it's going to be explicit, but Forge is not a genius. Forge has a mutation that lets him do stuff that he's more like a savant than he is like he can't show you his work. Like, how did you get from A to B? No idea, but this is warp drive, so go put it in your spaceship. Right? Well, how'd you build it? I don't know. Just go put it in space. You know it's warp drive. Shit, leave me alone. You know, I'm Forge. I got to go build stuff. So, and that's fun because I'm not going to use Mysterium at all. I shouldn't say that. I reserve the right to use it if I want to, but I don't need to right now. But Sage's powers are almost the exact opposite of that. And part of the thing that has happened is because they kept making them, oh, you're my tech guy, you're my tech girl, you're the girl in the chair, you're the guy who builds me the stuff. People have been sort of shoving them off to the left, but their mutations are not that. That's just the expression of their mutation, right? Of course, Sage can be the girl in the chair. She can process more data more quickly in her giant brain, but that's like the least thing that she can do. Like that's right. That's the tiniest application of what her baseline mutation is. So we're going to play with what her baseline mutation can really do in this book. Like Sage should be the scariest person you never want to be on the wrong side of.
Between her tactics, her analysis, his ability to build anything, to address any issues.
That's what I'm saying. You don't want any of that smoke. Right. You just don't.
Hell of a pair.
Yeah. So that's what that's for. And there was a lot. Here's the thing about working with editors that I think the audience, sometimes they get mad at either the writers or the editors. What I pitch and what you see are not exactly the same thing ever, right? It goes through changes. It gets developed in different ways. One of the things is, yes, Sage is narrating the book, right? But Sage's narration was crazy complex when I first wrote it. The first draft of this, I said this on Comics Are Dope, their channel. I may post those pages to show you guys the editorial process. So yes, Sage was always going to be narrating the book, but Sage's narration was massively different when I first started it. And it was to show all of the things she's doing at exactly the same time, at all times, right? And she's doing crazy stuff with her head, controlling stuff and looking into stuff and collating data and learning languages and, all kinds of crazy crap 100% all the time if she's awake. If she's awake, her brain is on, right? And it's not one of those, you use 100% of her brain, right? People don't even exactly that. Why would you ever put Sage in a chair? Sage is like all of S.H.I.E.L.D. in one body. That's the least of what she can do. So I want to try and push it out to the edge and see this. Like, you don't need her to be an Omega. You're right. You don't, and technically Forge is not actually an Omega level. He pushed his mutation towards Omega, but I never said he actually achieved his full goal. Right? He just went away. He just amped himself up. right? So the two of them together, yeah, they are. They should be the scariest people you don't want to be on the wrong side of by the time I'm.
Are you really going to tap into exploring their
Yep.
power sets and going into greater detail?
Yup.
Because you're the man who's able to do that. So I appreciate that.
That is part of why I wanted to do the book. No matter what version of the book you guys got, Sage and Forge were always going to be the dead center of that book.
Right.
So
then you make these last couple little nuggets of information on this last panel. Where are we going next? We're going to Wakanda, the Forest of Torment.
Yep.
I don't know what the Forest of Torment is. I read just about every Black Panther issue imaginable.
Go and look at the original maps. Go and look at the first couple of sets of maps for Wakanda, and you will
from
see
Jungle Action.
Probably Jungle Action, yeah. And you will see a place called the Forest of Torment. That's where we're going.
That's where we're going. I don't think it's ever been explored that I recall.
Well, we're gonna have some fun in there. I don't know how much exploring we're gonna have a chance to do, but we're definitely going to be there.
So we're going to Wakanda. And then there says next, Igubu Lika Anansi. I don't know what Igubu Lika means, but I do know the word Anansi refers to the West African god, trickster god, often identified with the spiders.
Yes.
Is now I know from, don't tell me the name of the issue or the issue number. There's a Peter Parker Spider-Man book where Peter Parker goes to Wakanda. It's written by, was it Dwayne McDuffie or was it Reggie Hudlin?
I don't remember.
I want to say it was Dwayne McDuffie. But anyway, it was written by one of those two guys. And as a lark, T'Challa shows Peter Parker the Temple of Anansi in Wakanda.
Okay.
So we know that at least somebody worships Anansi in Wakanda. Is Anansi going to show up in the next issue?
Anansi will not make an appearance. Anansi will
all right. Let's get that out of the way.
If you have not read, Paul is always singing the praises of this ridiculous one shot. But if you've not read King in Black, the Black Panther King in Black, you should go read it.
Oh, tie in to my favorite one shot of the Black Panther of all time?
I'm just saying, if you want to know more about what's about to happen, there are many, many clues in that book. Many.
All right.
Okay.
That seems like a BCL. Where's my producer? Where's this guy? Is he on his lunch break again? Why do I pay Derek?
This is a Black Comic Lords exclusive.
You're unpaid. Yeah. So yeah, this it's not me saying go buy my book, okay? But one of the things that I always used to love about
you don't have to say it. I'll say it. Go buy his book. Go buy his book and go read the book. You'll enjoy it.
You will enjoy it, and there are things in that book which will be clues about what you're going to see in what and who you're going to see in issue 2 of X-Force. And
enough said.
That's all I have to say about that. And
all right.
There are translation programs on the internet. You might be able to find out what that set of words means. I'm just going to say.
I'll be looking it up.
Okay.
All right. So look, there were some questions in the chat that I thought we should go touch. What was it, Thorne, brother? We needed to have Cruel show up, underutilized villain. I think only one appearance, but I love that villain. Is one of my overall favorite issues of Jungle Action number 15.
Wait, was he that bald one with the he had like a top knot type situation? Let me look at that.
That sounds like that.
Yeah. So we only have one issue in Wakanda. Let's not get it crazy. I'm not taking over the Black Panther here. But what I'm going to try to do is make everyone who loves all of that have some fun in Wakanda. Right?
All right.
We're going to have some fun. And we're going to walk away from that story having added to the tapestry.
So we're going to get these other questions people have from you off of your book.
Okay.
What was Geoff Thorne's plans for John Stewart?
Okay. One, I will refer you to.
Wait, pause. I want to make sure that you don't give away anything in case you are offered to work on the John Stewart book again.
Let
I
me
don't want
tell
you to
you
like.
DC ain't trying to let me near John Stewart again. Okay.
Oh, well, then spoil it.
Yeah, I'm
Give us the whole.
All right. So, make this small and just talk about John. I had a whole lot of stuff going on with the Green Lanterns, but basically, my deal with John was a rescue mission. My feeling about the Green Lanterns is that, for good or bad, there are a lot of Green Lantern fans who enjoy what has been done with the franchise. I feel that unless Jeff Johns planned to spend the rest of his life writing Green Lantern, much of what he did was ultimately an error. It worked in the short term, but it did not have the necessary staying power, and here's why. Too many human lanterns. So every time somebody shows up and makes a whole bunch of new lanterns, oh, I'm going to make this one black, or I'm going to make this one Asian American, or I'm going to make this one of Arab descent, or this one's going to be a Latina. Whatever it is, you think you're solving a problem, but you're actually making worse problems, because the more you do that, the less unique the original Green Lantern, in this case, I guess Hal Jordan, becomes. And also, the more you're going to start having people going, why isn't it Kyle Rayner? When I showed up for a decade, there weren't any other Green Lanterns, and it was just Kyle Rayner. And now, because you like Homeboy, we getting rid of Kyle, and now it's going to be your boy, right? Well, we could do away with all that if we have stacked who gets to be Green Lantern when. And that's a whole other conversation. In terms of John's last big story was Mosaic. And that was in either early 90s or late 80s. I can't remember. And it was written by a pedophile. So DC probably knew he wasn't, but we didn't know he wasn't. He went to prison for child pornography, trafficking, whatever. Okay. So DC has a problem with Mosaic, because if they ever reprint it, I guarantee you his contract pays him. So at that point, DC is now paying a pedophile for work that pedophile did for them. Some on the internet will find, wait a minute, isn't this guy a pedophile? And all kinds of shit will pop off that the company doesn't want. Right? Now, never mind that literally none of the other people who worked on that story, the illustrator, the letterer, the colorist, the editor, the inker, none of them are pedophiles. They're not going to get their change. They're not going to get their residual money because Homeboy fucked it for them. But I'm sorry I'm swearing, but I'm kind of salty about this. So John got his little flowers, and then he went straight to the backfield for the next 30 years. And he was only there to service Hal Jordan. And there's a lot of conversation about Hal and pals. And, oh, he was great as the leader of the GLC. And these were, nope, sorry, miss me. And he was a Dark Star. And nope, sorry. All of that was second tier, third tier, BDC list crap.
Yeah.
Okay. So my job, as I saw it, when I first pitched this to Dan Didio, in which Dan liked, was let's get John out from underneath all of that. Let's just cut those losses. Okay.
Get rid of the baggage.
Right. So my plan was, and we started it, we got halfway there. No, we got a third of the way there. In the Mosaic miniseries, John was told, and Hal was told, John was a child of prophecy. The reason he got that ring was the Guardians had been on him from birth or pre-birth. Like, this guy's going to show up and he's something. He is an ascended being. I didn't make any of this up. It's just that nobody has read Mosaic, right? And in that story, he got Guardian level powers. He was running the Mosaic world. There's a big section of Oa that had multiple worlds, right? All the different species were forced to live together, and he was the guardian of that. But he had Guardian level power. He literally ate a power ring in this story, right? And Hal Jordan says, "Don't tell me, John literally, Hal says, well, don't tell me you're as powerful as a Guardian." And John's response is, "All right, I won't tell you." Okay. And they called him the Builder. And then they promptly shot all that in the face and forgot about it for 30 years. So step one, reinstate all of that. John is as powerful as a Guardian. He is an ascended being. Why? I didn't make all that up. Y'all just forgot. Well, I didn't. And by the way, this predates Ion. This predates White Lantern. This predates Parallax. This predates the God of Light. So I wasn't copying nothing, right? It's just you all don't know your lore. I pulled something old and continued it. So he gets a set. Then he gets zapped with the Godstorm crap. This is a really short version. He gets zapped with this Godstorm crap, which connects him directly to the source. And because he's an ascended being, he's able to process all that energy, which amped up all of his powers, right? To the point of like Silver Surfer level, or between Silver Surfer and Galactus level power set. Ridiculous power set, right? Now, people with little brains will go, oh, that's what Jeff's goal was, right? He just came in to make the black guy God. Yeah, okay. You go home and tell your girlfriend that. That's not what it was. Okay. He was going to be that for the next arc, for the next third, chapter 2. He was going to learn what that cost him, because all the way through the book, John kept saying, I'm not this. I'm just a man. I don't need all this. I don't want all this. I'm trying to give these powers away. And the source told him point blank, good luck. Right? Like you took it on. You're the only one in the multiverse who ever tried this crap. Let's see how it plays out. Good for you, John. Right? But probably not able to achieve that. Now, in the book, a whole bunch of other crap was going on. Okay. All kinds of stuff that we don't need to get in here now because it'll take hours. But there was a bad character that was underneath everything. Okay. Why does Sinestro have those tattoos on his body that he never had before? Was he sleeping with those two derlets who also had those tattoos all over their body? What were those tattoos about? Where was Sinestro's daughter all this time? How did Sinestro get to be in charge of New Corrigan? What was that all about? Who built Kelly's gauntlet? Why was it so crazy powerful? Who are those people? What was going on with that? What happened to Kyle Rayner? What was he laid out on that slab? Was he dead? The answer is, by the way, yes. Kyle was dead. He was a corpse on that slab. And the big bad would at some point have risen up in the middle of the second arc. And the big bad was some big badness that you would be like, Paul was talking about my science-y background. You know what? Fuck it. The big bad was, this is how much of reality we get to perceive as people, as humans. Okay? Reality is actually ridiculously bigger than anything we even can fit in our brains. And most of what reality is made of is dark matter. That is to say, matter that we cannot observe, we cannot get the qualities of. We only know that it's there because mathematically it must be there. So let's say 1% of reality is made of what we think of as the real universe, and the whole rest of it is dark matter, whatever the hell dark matter is. Okay? But in the DC universe, the people in the light part of the DC universe keep destroying the universe, right? They keep having these crises and blowing stuff up and messing the timelines up and all this kind of crap. And at some point,
every 3 years.
Right. From the beings from the dark side are going, not dark side, the new god. This is not a magical thing. This is literal, actual physics. Okay. The dark being, by the way, DC knows all of this at the time. The dark beings, they got sick of this. Like, we are just hitting here minding our business, and these little 1% of the reality keep destroying everything over and over again. What? That's like a person with a disease not being able to cut the cancer cell out. So they figured a way to cut that cancer cell out. And they started infecting people like Sinestro. That indigo, not indigo, the ultraviolet lantern shit, which was nonsense from my point of view anyway. That was never about lanterns. That was the infiltration of the dark matter part of our universe going, okay, we're putting a stop to this nonsense. And what they did was they infected all of these different beings, of which Sinestro was one. Okay? I'm leaving out a whole bunch, because there's a whole bunch of other crap going on while this is going. So over the course of the second chapter, Sinestro's group was going to rise. But Jessica Cruz, she's now one of his people. And you start to realize that some of Sinestro's people have clothing, their uniforms cover their bodies all the way up to here. And some of them have body exposing where you can see their skin, right? And there was a reason for that. I was going to have the artist draw it this way, and the audience would never know. But at some point, you're going to start to notice all the people that are with Sinestro, including Sinestro himself, their bodies are covered up to here. Why? Because their bodies were covered with dark matter tattoos. And the good guys were clean. So they didn't know this, but that's why their skin was exposed, because they didn't have to worry about concealing anything. Right? So Jessica Cruz was going to split the Yellow Lanterns down the middle, because she was setting an example that you could be a fear lantern and still be a hero. Because fear is not bad in and of itself. It's a survival adaptation, so it's not negative. Okay? But Sinestro's guys, where they were serving the dark matter universe, who wants to wipe us all out. They've been possessed by this dark matter universe. So at the end of that part of the story, Sinestro, if you remember Sinestro's original costume, it was blue and black.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to be Sinestro's core. All the people that have been taken over by the dark matter universe, that was going to be Sinestro and his people. Jessica Cruz and Saranic, who Sinestro had been trapped in a bubble in the basement all this time, because she knew what was up, but he couldn't possess her for some reason. I think the last little bit of Sinestro let the dark matter take his daughter. So they locked him in her in a drum or whatever, and Jessica finds her, right? They become the Yellow Lanterns, the Fear Lanterns, but they're good guys. They're just scary as hell. They're the Batman of the Lantern universe now, led by Jessica Cruz staying a Yellow Lantern, right? Because now they're the good guys, and they're fighting the ultraviolet lanterns, the dark lanterns, right? Led by Sinestro in his original 1950s costume, and their costumes all match that. Now, but that didn't stop the rise of the dark. The dark is powerful. Sinestro has taken over the United Planets by this time, and a lot of people are infected, right? And their goal is not, oh, we're going to win, we're going to suffocate you. We're done with the light matter universe. We're done with you. So everything, people will be asking the question throughout the piece, what is his end game? Like, this doesn't make any sense. He's blowing up this and he's doing. Why? Because he's going to set up a chain reaction that's going to destroy everything we think of as the universe. And in the dark matter universe, we'll be like, oh, cool, now we can all sleep. These things are gone. Right? Meanwhile, John's learning how to be essentially a new god. He's got so much juice that the only people who can teach him anything about how to process it are new gods. But
New gods, yeah.
God. He's a man. So the gods are like the embodiment of like concepts and physical forces and stuff. The source makes them like they were never children. They'll never get old. Highfather is always an old man. Orion is always going to be what Orion is. So they age a little bit, but it's like whatever with that, right? For the most part. And so if a new god kills another god, the source is just going to resurrect it because the universe needs the god to be there. It needs gravity to be there, right? But John's a dude. He just has that level of power. So they can only teach him so much. And he starts to freak out a little bit. He does revive his wife. He brings Katmatui back. He pulls Xanshi back into the main universe. Xanshi not blowed up no more. He returns a Crux world back into the space where it should be.
That would have been a huge, because that was his biggest regret of all time.
Gets his wife back. A bunch of other stuff happens, by the way. But people die. You know, Kelly comes out of her coma with no glove. The United Planets is running, basically running the Green Lantern Corps. Oa is its own thing. There's a whole bunch of other stuff I'm not even talking about. What was going on with Simon and the Dead Lanterns. All of that stuff was in the job. Guy is out in the universe looking for the missing lanterns that nobody had rounded up yet. Like, are they dead? Are they just missing? Nobody was looking for them. So he builds his own starship, collects his friends, and we're going to go do this. So that was going to be Guy. And John is going to learn how to process his God power. And he finally comes to the conclusion, I'm screwed. I can't get rid of it. It's constantly regenerating. I need more.
That is brightest day, darkest night level type.
Wait, this is just chapter 2. At the end of chapter 2, Sinestro reveals his plan, right? All the stuff I told you about the dark matter universe, the big reveal is at the end of chapter 2, right? It's like Sinestro's been up to this whole time, but what's his end game? We don't know. So in the chapter 3, John has rejected the new God's teachings because they can only teach him up to a point. He's like, I'm not going to develop into being the God of something. I am a Christian. I can't be the God of anything. I don't even still believe that you guys are gods. You're just weird ass aliens with crazy powers, from my point of view. There's only one God, right? I'm personally not a Christian, by the way, but John's a Christian. So there's no way a Christian can accept a lot of this stuff. And he's really wrestling with himself. So he basically says, I'm done. Thank you very much for your help, High Father, and all the rest of you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I get how the universe works now at this crazy level, but I was not meant for this. So I now have to figure a way to get rid of this because I can't live like this, right? I mean, I will forever and ever, for always. Everyone I know is going to die. Everyone I ever loved will eventually die. No, I'm not like you, right? You guys all love each other and make babies and stuff with each other, and all your babies are eternal like you. Like, no. So as the dark is rising and winning every fight, by the way, Sinestro's people are not losing nothing. They are destroying planets. They are linking solar system together with these giant freaking energy chains to create this chain reaction that will wipe out regular matter. Right, and we don't even figure it out until the middle of the year of that third chapter. And then it comes down to, I revitalize Kyle as a new character who's got crazy Silver Surfer powers also. He's called the Omegan now. John comes back to help, right, because he's got all this hypertime knowledge that he knows how to do. And basically all the human lanterns get together to fight. I'm glossing over so much crap. But but
it also seems like you're trying to take all the human lanterns and solve the problem of there being so many human lanterns and giving them new power sets, new names,
areas. Exactly.
Right.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. So they have the big fight with the dark. And the big fight with the dark comes down to, we did not know. Our side says we didn't know. John is the one who ends up talking to them because no one else can interact with them. Okay. No light person can interact with them without being corrupted. Only John, because of his ridiculous ascended powers, can interact with these beings without being corrupted, right? And so no one's ever talked to each other, ever. And remember, Lonar kept saying, there's a big thing you're supposed to be doing, and it isn't fighting my cousin, what's his name? The bad god, whose name goes out of my head right now. You're not supposed to be doing this. Right? You're not supposed to be fighting my cousin. You're supposed to be prepping for this big thing. Well, the big thing is the dark, right? And after everyone's getting this shit kicked out of them and things are being laid waste and the universe is about to blow the hell up, John steps into dark space and realizes there's a much bigger universe than anyone ever thought. And he's glowing like a star inside of all this stuff. And they all say, look, you guys keep killing us. You have to stop killing us. Right? And he makes that thing that I did with the thing about change, the speech about change and how change is inevitable and all that kind of stuff in the John Stewart Emerald Knight thing. The dark basically says, we did not know you existed until you started harming us over and over. We existed kind of like the way people describe God. I was alone, I made other people, right? The dark is kind of the same way. Except the only thing you've ever given us is pain. And at that point, John says, you know what? I got you, man. He takes all of the God power, almost all of it, and creates that hypertime duplicate of himself. Says, I will stay with you. You won't be alone anymore, and I promise you, you won't be harmed anymore by them. That is my deal with you. And so we got John Stewart depowered from God level, sent back to the regular universe, and all the dark forces recede. Right?
So this is what you pitched to DC?
Yep.
And they said no.
No, they said yes at the beginning, but there were 3 regime changes while I was there.
Oh.
So the people who made the deal weren't there anymore. The people at the end didn't care about the deal. They didn't even probably look at it. And so John,
you would have completely redone the entire cosmic, or at least a large portion of the cosmic realm of the DC universe with that story.
So
it was that scale.
And he's the Emerald Knight, and he has he probably wouldn't have looked the way we ended up designing him because we knew we had no running room. But he would have come back and he'd have been the Emerald Knight, no longer a Green Lantern, massively upgraded power-wise from what he was, but nowhere near that cosmic entity that we had turned it into, right? He would be more at the level of like, remember the Captain Marvel character? He would have been like that, right? Kyle Rayner would have been the Omegan, made so by the people who created Kelly's Gauntlet. That was a test, and then they got a hold of an actual Green Lantern and an actual Green Lantern ring, and they created the Omegan out of Kyle's corpse and revived him. So Kyle had memory holes, and he didn't know he was Kyle for a while, and he finally remembers he's Kyle, but his look would have been sort of like the way he looked when he was the White Lantern, right? And now he's the Omegan, and he looks after the Vega sector, right? Like, Green Lanterns, I like you, you're my friends, don't fuck with the Omega sector. I mean, my sector is my sector. We don't need no Green Lanterns, I got it, right? He was a little bit more belligerent. Guy is running the universe in his own Star Trek starship with his own crew of Blue Lanterns and Yellow Lanterns and whatever. Whoever else wants to roll with Guy, he's like, I'll be Green Lantern as long as I want to be Green Lantern. I don't care who's running the Green Lantern Corps. I'm Guy Gardner, right? So he's going to be having those adventures. John is now the Emerald Knight, so he's just doing good things in the universe as he sees fit, with no oversight, and who's going to mess with him because he's more powerful than every Green Lantern. It would take a bunch of Green Lanterns now to take John down, and he's not part of that organization anymore, which was my goal from the beginning. Jessica is now a Yellow Lantern, like second in command to Ceramic, who is the leader of the Yellow Lanterns. They are a force for good in the universe, actual good. It's just that they're the scary cop. They're not the bad cop in the sense of they're bad people, but you don't want to be left alone with a Yellow Lantern. Like, you need to tell us what you know, otherwise they're going to talk. Right? That's who they were going to be. I don't want to get into what I was doing with Simon, but that was the whole thing. That's a whole long story. And Kelly, everyone hated Teen Lantern. I also did Teen Lantern. But Mogo was going to be basically Hogwarts for Lanterns in training. And Kelly was going to go there. And while you were on Mogo, they give you a temporary ring that works like a Green Lantern ring. Right? But if you leave
that would have been cool.
Yes. And if you leave the atmosphere, the ring disappears because it's Mogo generating the ring. Right? The problem is, at some point, Kelly's gauntlet that got destroyed rebuilds itself and comes back to her arm. And she's like, what is going on here? Right? So you got to hide it from everybody else while she figures out what's going on with this gauntlet, while she's training to be a real Green Lantern, which is what she wants to be. And the character Tai Pham from that one shot called Legacy, or the Elseworlds, the Asian Green Lantern kid, he falls into our dimension with his ring gone. And his whole deal is, and he ends up on this Hogwarts, I got to get home. I'm not even from this freaking dimension. I need to get home. I got stuff going on, right? So they team up and they become a pair, and they have young adult adventures on Mogo, around Mogo, kind of like a Starfleet Academy, Green Lantern Academy type book. And that's what I wouldn't want to be writing all this stuff, but I would have set up all these things so that other writers could do it. All of that was in the game plan. The new guys didn't want to do it. They wanted Hal back. And they know I'm not writing that.
All right. Well,
so that's what it is, y'all. That's what you missed.
All right, let's check out some of these other questions you have.
Sorry about it.
Jermaine Exum told me to ask you about your time in the heat of the night. That's kind of a broad question.
I quit that job because I was sick of being an actor. I had a good time while I was on it. The last season,
sweet.
Yeah, the last season I just told them, look, I'd like to go. They said no, and I said, well, I'll be going. There's a very detailed argument about why I wanted to go and what they wanted to do about it. And I said, well, you can have me right now, or you can have me for half the season and then I'm out. And they said, okay, half a season. And I left. And I went off basically to be a writer. But during that time, we had a great time. I remained friends with most of those people. Every time I see Anne-Marie, which is not often, but when I do, it's like, yay! You know, me and David Hart stayed friends for years. He's in Florida and I'm here, but Dave was great. David was great. We were friends. No hard feelings about any of that. I just didn't want to be an actor anymore. I'm a writer.
Yes, you are. Daniel Elliott says Biogenes are an all-black mutant team, but no one ever uses those characters.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of all black, honestly. There are very few in-story reasons for that, and they can work. It can be done, but on the whole, unless you're telling a story where it's organically. By the way, I don't like all white either. I think that's just as dumb. But unless I'm telling a story about a bunch of kids who got powers while living in Harlem, or a bunch of, like we were talking about earlier, Nigerian kids or Egyptian kids, and there are different ethnicities in these countries as well. I need an organic reason for it to be an all black anything. And I don't like when I see an all white in the United States. Like, I can tolerate an all white Russian team. They're not really rolling with a whole bunch of brothers in the former Soviet Union. But they're something, and they got a whole bunch of Asian people that nobody ever talks about. Everybody thinks all Russians are white with blonde hair, and Russia is Asia as much as it is Europe. So I'm fine with an all Chinese team if it's coming from China or Taiwan or someplace like that. But any place that's multi-ethnic, I'm not here for that. That's other people's toys to play with that way, right? If I am black, so the thing I'm not going to be doing all the time is talking only about my own experience. Like, I know what that is, so I'll share it. There'll be black characters doing stuff all the time. They'll be prominent. They might even be the focus, but it's not going to be just movies. Like, I think that's what they did to us. I think the bad guys did that to us. They lift us out. They cut us out. I'm not trying to do what they did to them. Like, that doesn't solve it. Doesn't solve anything. So you have to look at the individual characters and go, who amongst these guys are somebody I can use, right? Or if oh my God, why do people keep bringing up a book that I'm never going to get to do? Chris and I want to do that so bad. We want to do Global Guardians so bad. Oh,
this is a sore subject for Jeff.
That is my white whale, dude. That's basically only that, or Legion of Superheroes, or you can assume I'm not doing any more DC.
All right, so Kevin Ford, and I missed this, and I should not have. There's a QR code in the back of the book.
Spanish.
All right. If you want to know what they're talking about, read the book.
Yeah. And we were talking about, you and I were talking about off camera. I'm sorry that Green Lantern stuff took too long, but I got a little hair up my ass to tell you the real story because no one's ever going to see it. So you heard it here first and only. No one else is. No one not at the no. Unless you're DC editorial, no one else has ever heard that story. So, but for X-Force, the first 5 issues are very specific. And speaking of all these black characters, just enough that I got to. Okay, you're gonna see some stuff you have not seen in a minute, and you're gonna see some brand new stuff. Okay, but come issue 6, you're gonna be introduced to a whole bunch of other folks that maybe you've met some of them before, and maybe some of them are brand new. You are going to be pleased. Right? Just be patient. I'm telling a story. So yeah.
And Geoffrey Thorne, I trust. All right. James Tomlinson says, "Evening comic fan, Ms. Thorne, I love your writing style. First issue of X-Force was great. Are we going to Tank's power set and is Forge now Omega level?" I think he answered that.
Tank's power set will become apparent as we go. There are things Tank has yet to display, which will start to become more. You'll be asking me more questions about Tank. You'd be like, "Oh, I thought Tank was so-and-so, but so-and-so can't do that. So what's this all about?" And in terms of Forge's Omega status, Forge's experiment was #1, phase 1, and he definitely jacked up his power, but he is not an Omega yet.
Okay.
Are you still getting an echo? Was there an echo that whole time? I didn't hear it.
Hopefully it's fixed now because I put it in my mic here.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So he's not yet.
I think those were our questions. Is there any new ones here? Honestly, I wish African. Yeah, it does.
It is.
There's a whole continent to explore.
And there's plenty, if they want to do this thing where you have to be from the place to write about the place, there are a stack of African writers who live in the United States who are good writers and can write it. Go find them. Like, you don't want it to be me because I'm not actually African. Go get them. They're there. So.
All right. So beyond all of these books, what else do you have upcoming?
I have
or what other books do you have upcoming?
I have 2 projects that we sort of talked about off camera, both in animation space that are NDA protected, but look for my name. It's going to be attached to some stuff you're interested in the next year or so, not a year from now. Within the next 10 months, there will be announcements. And then I can talk. And I will come here to discuss.
Thank you.
In terms of comics, I'm very seriously, and I mean ridiculously seriously, about to do a Kickstarter. Been holding off for a long time because I'm lazy, and I did not want to do a Kickstarter because it's a lot more work than just write the damn comic. But there are some things I wanted to get out. There's a story I wanted to tell.
Is this the Red Jack or something else?
No. If you follow my Patreon, if you're one of the paid members of the Patreon, you will be able to read this thing before we do this Kickstarter. It's up now. I don't know how I'm going to leave it up, but I want to
tell everybody where they can get into your Patreon. Where can I find it?
Is my Patreon? You can look it up. I don't have to look it up. Patreon. My Patreon is called
Winterman Project.
Patreon Winterman. Just the Patreon address /Winterman. Yeah, thank you. There's a bunch of crap up there. I am waiting to hear from one of the smaller or the mid-sized indies about a comic book series I pitched them for a licensed property that they were like, we really like this, but we have to wait and see if we keep the license. Looks like they're keeping it. So I expect to hear from them sometime soon. Comic books. Yeah, I will be putting out a Red Jack comic. Everything got stalled just because of work and COVID. Everything got pushed back by years in some cases. But
if for those of you who are not familiar with Jeff's Red Jack project, go on YouTube. It's on the Winterman YouTube page.
YouTube page.
Winterman Project on the YouTube page, and look up his Red Jack. He did an animated short on that project. 3
episodes, 2 more to go. We're still in episode 4 right now. They're about 2 minutes apiece. I would love to get some eyes on it, y'all, because the more people that watch it, the more ways I can make Hollywood make it for real. It's just me and my little crew right now. Like, one of the reasons I'm not so crazy gung-ho about all black when I'm doing DC or Marvel or whatever comics is I do a whole lot of stuff, right? So if you're looking for stuff like that, I do make that kind of stuff. It's just, it's not all things are not all things at all the time. So if you're looking for that, something cosmic with black folks dead center, go check out Red Jack, because that is what it is. I want some eyes on it. I want some likes and subscribes and all that. I don't do Paul and the rest of the BCO. I don't know how you have the energy to have a job and do this. I can't.
It's, well, a while ago, I took the example of Rodney Barnes and allowed a vampire to bite me, so I no longer have to sleep.
Stop it. Yeah, I still need those shut eyes. So. Somebody asked me. Yeah. Here's the thing. I just found out yesterday that they're doing a new
Joe Illidge is doing Shadow Cabinet.
Shadow Cabinet. Well, that was the first contact I've had about, with, or for Milestone since the end of Blood Syndicate season 1. So if they call me to do season 2, I will do it. But it's been crickets on their end since then. So
I really hope you get that call, because I need that Blood Syndicate to continue, brother. I really do.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm glad they're still kicking. I wish they were still kicking with me involved, but I don't need to be there. If they don't want me, I'm good. You know, I don't mean it like, oh, I'm good, you know, I don't care. I mean like keep Milestone going. It doesn't need to be involving Geoff Thorne, but you guys brought it back. You better keep it up.
It needs to keep going. Absolutely.
So compared to Green Lanterns, but your responses work differently. Yeah. I think some of that is fan headcanon, artist interpretation, and sometimes lazy writing. What Betsy can do with her mutation is focus all of her psychic telekinetic energy into a single thing or a couple of things. Okay, I will not be turning her into the mutant Green Lantern. I think that's lazy. What Betsy is doing and can do, you will be happy with. There will be plenty of Captain Brittany. She's not really Psylocke anymore, but and Psylocke goodness to go around. You will not miss the fact that she's not Green Lantern. Betsy's going to get her flowers in this book. We're going to treat Betsy right. I'm not knocking any of the previous anybody who wrote any book. Nothing I do is a response to or a comment on something that came before. But I am currently driving, and I'm going to drive it the way I drive. So there's a lot in her canon, in Betsy's backstory, that can be drawn from. She has a rich, rich backstory. I don't think a lot of people even know of the all the British, like the Marvel England, whatever it's called, British Marvel, whatever it's called.
Marvel UK.
Marvel UK, all of that stuff. It's not in play. I'm not thinking about it right now, but Betsy has enough behind her to cover her own solo title. So I will be drawing from her rich history to tell her story in this book. And that means her power set. It's not going to be everything you want, because it can't be. It's a team book, right? Like, it's not the book about Betsy. But all of the characters in X-Force have secrets. All of the characters in X-Force's powers, I feel, have either been weirdly limited for no reason or too big for no reason. The butterflies, it's an interesting subject. Personally, I am a purist about Betsy. I was one of those who did not like the fact that they stuck a white woman in an Asian woman's body. I thought that was ethnic inclusion. That irked me when I was just a fan. Now that they've solved that problem, remember, I'm old, so I remember original Betsy before she was that version of Psylocke. So her coming back to her actual white body, yes, that's right. But the image of Psylocke over the last 30 years, whatever Jim Lee took over drawing it, whatever that is, was an Asian woman with that butterfly. So the fantastic Marcus Toe has an interpretation of her butterfly, which she uses her powers, that I was like, if the fans accept this, I'm down for this because I like this design. I actually prefer it. I think it's cool and unique and makes it like it's a power signature. You go, oh, that's my girl, right? In the same way that now that Quanon's butterfly isn't exactly the same as the original. And you look at that and go, oh, that must be Quanon, because that's the Psylocke one. So not satisfying maybe to diehard, Betsy Braddock fans. But for my purposes, I like what Marcus is doing design-wise, and I'm happy that most people are interpreting that as this version of the butterfly. We will continue to mess with her powers going forward.
Your artist, by the way, is phenomenal. Marcus is really enjoys.
But so is Mr. Hill. Sean, I have been so blessed, so lucky to work with these great, either brand new or more seasoned illustrators. They are killing, and Marcus is no exception. I am, knock wood. Yes, to Marcus Toe. He's great.
Bradford says, absolutely fantastic. Number one, well done. Love the vibe and team dynamics already. Betsy's attitude was on point. Boosted TK was such a treat and a nice callback. I'm all in on X-Force.
Thank you very much. We're going to do what we can to make this a fun ride. Yeah.
Well, Jeff, we appreciate having you. We always appreciate having you. We hope that you come back soon when you have some more information to share about the super secret project you can't talk about yet.
I tell you, as the announcements drop, if you see one and I haven't seen it, because a lot of times I don't see when they drop them, just hit me and you'll get the first crack.
I absolutely will. I will.
Right. Or if I know it's right before, I'll let you know.
Yeah, give us a heads up so we can be sure to post it up. Okay. We're going to go to our Wednesday wrap-up show. For those of you watching, thank you very much for watching us. If you have not hit the like button, why haven't you done that? It's we're an hour and a half in. Please hit the like button. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe to our channel. Share the video on your social media. Doesn't cost you anything, but it does everything for us. It helps our algorithm do its thing so that we can share the love of the Black Comic Lords throughout the interwebs. So thank you very much. We're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll come back later with the Wednesday wrap-up show. Jeff, you're invited to stay. I know you're probably busy. You got some other things to do.
I can hang out for 15 more minutes.
All right. Well, very well, because we're going to chop it up about, I have absolutely no idea what we're going to talk about. So it's free. It's absolutely free thought about whatever's coursing through our adult little minds at the time.
Cool.
So, Mr. Producer, Dr. Wizard, is he on his bathroom break again?
Documentary, if we could capture what's going on right now, it'll be like going in the past and getting the Harlem Renaissance, capturing that on film in the beginning.
What's important about this film is you are documenting exactly all aspects of how that is affecting this industry. Start talking about, the whole collection process. You're talking about fans, you're talking about collectors, you're talking about investors, you're talking about the producers, the workers. What you're capturing here is going to be important years after we're gone, because I think your film is going to show a side of this that nobody ever thought about. And it's taken all this long to actually put this level of commitment into what you're trying to show. People are going to be shocked. Oh, there's that many black people that are into this, and they spend this, and this business is this big. I'm honored to be a part of it. Larry's honored to be a part of it. This is going to be.
What I was doing is whatever I worked on, I added black characters into I'd stick them in the background. That's how I started doing all the crowd scenes. I'm gonna have somebody black in this somewhere.
It's the Wednesday wrap-up show.
Go crazy.
You're on with the Black Comic Lords.
Rich, what's up, man?
There he is.
Oh no,
our superstar.
Shut up.
King Richard.
It's late. I'm gonna truck all. Yes, you're gonna get smoked early as I'm on the show. Listen, I got a job. I have a real job. I have a job that causes me to get up 4:30 in the morning.
Oh my God.
I can't wait for you. I listen, as much as I love Mr. Geoffrey Thorne talking about Green Lantern Lord and all of that.
I'm
you know
sorry.
what I'm saying? That's not gonna help my brother in the morning when I'm up before the doggone roosters. I ain't gonna be thinking about John Stewart's power set. I'm gonna be thinking about Brother Rich's power set and how he gonna get through the day.
I'm sorry. I did not
No,
know.
it's not your fault. It's Paul's fault. He the lead. Listen, I learned a long time ago. Bugs Life. Shout out to Disney, which y'all whack behind. But anyway, we'll get to y'all in a minute. Bugs Life. Number one rule of management. Everything is your fault. So, Mr. Thorne, trust me when I tell you, you have no ill will. This is all on Paul White Davis. He been gallivanting all over the globe. He been taking in the sites, and all I've been doing is waiting to turn on the show. I had to hit Derek. I was Derek, we doing the show? Because I could go to bed. I could watch this on the replay and see while I'm at work. I can hear you, talk and matriculate about John Stewart. But I'm trying to get to this. I'm trying to get some sleep because I ain't no spring chicken.
And me, I'm 56 years old. Damn. I'm sorry.
Hey, did you know this, Paul? I ain't trying to look, bro. It's clear to be Derek. See, Derek, he must be on vacation. Cause I know my brother who really craves time to get to bed so he can get up in the morning and go to his $1 million job. I know he would do that to a brother like me. But when you on vacation, and you enjoying your best life, and you can get up at 10:30 in the morning and eat your bacon and eggs or your 11:50. Or if you're on a diet, you know what I'm saying, get you some grape nuts or something like that. That's cool. But I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. You're gonna be still calling the hogs home, Paul, when I'm up.
Oh my God, I feel awful. I feel so
Don't feel awful. I told you this is on Paul. This is not on you. This is Paul's fault.
Look,
we were supposed to talk about one comic book. Paul had one job: talk about X-Force. That was his job.
We did that in 1 hour. We did that in 1 hour.
That's my point. We should have been. You know what we should be doing? We should be telling everybody right now, God, we thank you for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you Sunday night at the Real Talking Good Show. But no, we just getting started.
The entire
we just getting started. And I'm not letting the chat off the hook either. Y'all ain't gave one dime.
That is true.
Wow.
Not a single.
Y'all ain't gave one dime. I need to see some super chats. I need to see some likes. If you really want your boy here for the next hour, I need the like button to go up, and I need some cash for my time. This pimping costs y'all.
Oh my God.
We gave y'all massive exclusives. Look, I will say it again. You need to pick up issue 2 of X-Force. Don't look. After the issue drops and you find out why I said this, and you're like, oh man, I really rush out to the store and go buy it. My store is all sold out. I wish I'd listened to Paul and the Black Comic Lords back when Geoffrey Thorne said, buy my damn book, issue number 2.
Somebody give me a
heads up. And y'all can't give us any likes, any super chats, nothing.
Yeah.
All right, that's how I'll treat this.
But anyway, look, I'm trying to get. I'm just kidding, Jeff. Don't even worry about it. I'm just messing with Paul. He knows this though.
I know that.
But on the cool though, I really could use some sleep because I'm probably be up a little bit tomorrow because tomorrow we got a game. First game of the season. Hall of Fame game. Football season officially starts tomorrow. Yes, sir.
Oh wow, really?
That's preseason.
Yes. But it's football. You ain't had no football. You've had pretend football.
All right,
now you're going to get smash mouth football. And my Texans are playing. And my Texans are playing. And shame on you, Paul, for not even acknowledging the fact that one of the Hall of Fame inductees happens to went to the U.
Andre Johnson. Yes.
Andre Johnson. The first Texan to go into the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Need to do the U properly. It's
whatever.
the whole hand. It's not that.
Now at Miami, is
don't
y'all
stand
do
my
it like
team's
that.
name.
In Rich's
Thank
house,
you.
it's just
Put it up
it's
properly.
you.
No, that's a goal line for playing.
Whatever. Anyway, look, so y'all act like y'all ain't gonna watch the game tomorrow night. Fine, don't watch the game. Wait 4 more weeks. I'll tell you about it on Sunday night when you get the show.
I was just watching the game of a team I actually care about. Hey, shout out to Big Rich.
Big Rich, no, Big Phil, DJ Big Phil. Which, by the way, congratulations to DJ Big Phil on his museum collections in black display and film that he documented film he just did. So shout out to you, my brother. Thanks for the super chat, and thank you. I'm glad somebody thinking about my sleep. Now, I'm gonna shut up after I say this, Mr. Jeff. Now, see, everything is a full circle moment.
Okay.
This is a full circle moment. I'm gonna tell you why it's a full circle moment with Black Comic Lords and Geoffrey Thorne. Last time Geoffrey Thorne was on our show, we talked about a certain pasty 80-year-old white guy who was causing havoc at Disney. And we, in so many words, insisted that he get his billions and go. He has done that, sir. So Black Comic Lords, whether y'all know it or not, when we put things into the atmosphere or into the zeitgeist or on the streets or whatever, we get stuff done. So shout out to my man Permametal, whatever his name is.
Oh my God.
In his Warby Parker glasses. He go. See, this is what happened when you keep me on hold like this. I'm sorry. We're not even but 2-3 minutes in, and we already run a disclaimer. I'm sorry, my bad.
I'm just glad I'm behind the shots fired. That's all I'm glad about.
Not even 10 minutes. Not even 10 minutes, Rich, and you already got the disclaimer.
Hey, hey, look. I'm trying to wake myself up. So if you get cranky Rich, grumpy Rich, shout out.
That's not cranky Rich. That's not grumpy Rich. That's Rich.
Whatever. Sorry, not sorry. We got another super chat.
Super chat.
Oh my dear God. This is the greatest.
Producer, what are you doing?
Many days.
Super chat.
Louder. Show me the money. I need to feel you, Jerry. Show me the money. Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money. I love black people.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Very much appreciated, KJ Sakuma. Yeah. We gotta get our guap back up because we gave all our money to Epiphany Answer.
Bro, see, there's a reason why. See, listen. When you are the money man, don't nobody care about the money man until it's time to talk about the money.
You're the treasurer. You're technically the money man.
Notice the money man is the one that brings up the money, because I don't need the conversation later on. What we got in the kitty? Nothing. What did we do on the show the other night? Nothing. We gotta put it on their mind, boss. They ain't gonna give ask squeaky wheel get the oil. Y'all know all of these euphemisms and cliches and stuff. So come on, y'all. We running this thing with duct tape and prayers.
What Rich is trying to point out to y'all is that we live in paycheck to paycheck here on Black Comic Lords. Super chats help us literally keep the channel going. So we appreciate each and every dollar y'all give us, because it is.
I was gonna say thank you. I just I just know that we got some expenses, and Lord, we got some recent expenses. We're gonna be coming to y'all, but we're gonna be asking for more super chats.
I am shamed. I really am just like, damn. Thank God I'm not your child or your grandchild. I don't even know what that would be like at this point.
You know what? Hey, I'll pull back the curtain.
Oh my
I
God.
got a text today. And
Here we go.
On the text,
Here we
got
go.
another
See,
super
Geoffrey
chat. Oh,
Thorne
thank you, sir.
trying to make me cry, getting me teared up right now.
I mean, if you put it on me, man, I had to do something.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Oh wow! Thank you
This
very
might be
much.
the first time in show history somebody actually gave us. We were interviewing. This is the first BCL exclusive.
Oh, guys, on that note, my wife
like
is
that
literally
reminds me.
My
of
wife
this.
is called.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was the trash. Don't be hitting on me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Thank you.
My
So,
wife, she's mad at me. I gotta go.
uh-oh. See,
We all understand that. We all
we understand. That's the
Happy
show.
wife, happy life.
No, I
Better go
got-
handle
Show
that.
is happy house, happy spouse.
I got hollered at, and I'm about to go get hollered at. So,
Well, tell it was for a good cause.
Just do what Rich does and say it's all my fault.
I got nothing. I don't know how much of this is all my fault. Like I
just go, damn wife. It's this damn Paul White Davis. He kept me on. He wouldn't let me go. He threatened my family.
Listen,
You know what's funny though? Today, my daughter called. She didn't call me. She sent me a text. This technology, boy. You gotta love millennials.
He just said he has to go. You gonna tell a story?
Looking for some cheese.
Okay.
And so I just kind of looked at it. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of looked at the phone. It's like, hey, he asked me how I'm doing. Yeah, Daddy, can you please? So I'm like, wow, okay. So, and there's no way I can like unread the text. So she knows I've looked at it and I've yet to respond. But it's okay because she's gonna get the dough.
But you need to wait for a minute.
Well, yeah. Listen, my whole thing is, as a parent, pick a struggle. Fair. I don't care what you do, just pick a struggle.
Fair.
Pick a struggle. And while you struggle, I will help you. I will help you on the way. But you got to pick a struggle. The struggle can't be, should I ask for 50 today or for 100? That ain't the struggle.
No, that's parenting. You're not wrong.
That's my struggle.
Yeah.
So for all my brothers out there that's got children, and both of these guys got daughters. You got kids, Jeff?
No.
Okay.
The world didn't need any more of this.
Yeah. Well, these guys know. Love your daughters because they're gonna be in their pockets for a long time. A long time. A long time.
Jeffrey, thank you very much.
Yeah,
but
thank you so much.
This is about you are definitely my people. I love you.
No doubt.
I will talk to you.
You're a black comic lord, man.
Salute, Jeff. We're definitely looking forward to the reading the X-Force book and getting into that, all the shenanigans of that, So look for the show on Sunday night because I'm gonna talk about it Sunday night. So
I'll be with you. You know I will. I show up from time to time.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Peace out.
Take care, Jeff.
Peace.
And we also want to acknowledge one more super chat that came through.
Yep.
So thank you, Manifesto, for the Get Guap Backup Fund.
Yes, indeed, man. So how y'all guys doing?
I don't know. Let me check my ass. Let me check my ass to see if I have any left. You chewed it up or not?
I don't like going into the house and kicking over chairs and spilling water. I don't like doing that. But sometimes you just gotta shake it up. So anyway, it is Wednesday wrap-up show. I have not been to the shop, so I have no clue what came out other than X-Force. So all of that's
well. Let me ask you this: you didn't go to the shop, but did you go to the movie theater?
Oh my goodness, man!
You see that Deadpool and Wolverine?
Oh, for sure. You know that. I saw it. I talked about it Wednesday night. Last Sunday.
Oh yeah.
I was thoroughly amused. I gotta say that never underestimate the power of good writing, because that movie was just not a giggles and I'm easily amused and immature humor, that kind of thing. It had all of that, but the story writing with this was incredible. I submit to you this, that if Wolverine, if Hugh Jackman had the story writing in his story arc as Wolverine would be a franchise by itself.
Yeah.
Because he literally put in this film, people really kind of understood who he was. I think people got more out of this Wolverine iteration than all the other movies. The only other movie that stands alone, in my opinion, is Logan.
Logan, yeah.
Which is probably the best Wolverine movie we've seen. But I like this story in which they take him through the hero's journey. You don't really see that in the other Logan movie. I mean, the other X-Men or the Wolverine movies. You don't see that. You don't see the hero's journey. But you got a chance to see that in this movie. And bruh, I just will say, I'm going to see this again for no other reason than to just laugh, because I was tired of laughing by the end of that movie.
Man, I was laughing out loud in the movie. I was screaming and hollering in the movie in certain scenes. And when my man Wesley came on the screen, oh my God. Because I had no idea the brother was in the film. I had not heard any rumors or anything like that. I heard the opposite, that he would absolutely refuse to do the movie. So that was obviously a red herring. But when he dropped that line, no one will ever be Wolverine but me, or something to that effect, I literally yelled in the theater, "That's right."
I mean, there was a lot of Marvel, Fox, they caught a lot of strays in this movie. And I just think that when you are able to, when you got that kind of power, there's only a few actors that had that kind of authority and power. And Ryan Reynolds happens to be one of them.
Yeah. The amount of shade he threw to Marvel and got away with it was tremendous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He literally, and he knew that they was gonna make money with Hugh Jackman. And the cool thing is, the energy that they had in this film, you could tell that they boys for real. The press junkets and all the stuff that they've been doing, whatever. But it really was very good chemistry. It was hilarious, bro. It was hilarious. I just do not know how I was able to contain myself in that theater for that long. It was only a 2-hour movie, but I mean, it was, man, that movie was funny. That's how you do a Marvel movie. And in my opinion, Marvel should really take a cue and try to do, not necessarily team up movies or whatever, but try to incorporate some relationships and on a deeper level, like they did with the Falcon and Winter Soldier. This here, whatever. You see it works, right?
Right.
It clearly works. Marvel's history is the whole Marvel 2-in-1. I won't go as far as to call Deadpool Marvel Jesus, but he definitely saved this franchise from ridicule. They had nothing. I think it was so funny. The guy from the TVA, he was like, kind of at a low point right now. The shade that they throw at Marvel was funny, bro. He's like, we know that, you want to be an Avenger and that kind of thing, and we kind of like way down here now. So you got an opportunity, but it is something that to be said about them. They can read the room. They know, talking about Marvel, they know that they got issues, and they know that people have been let down with their product. So for me, this was a welcome surprise. But let me ask you guys. To me, this was the best movie I've seen this summer. Have you guys seen anything else that has been just as compelling or just as impactful?
I haven't watched any other movies this summer that I can think of. So
Yeah, I can't think.
Yeah.
What other movies came out this summer?
Hadn't really been a lot, that's for sure.
Mhm.
I will say that they gave the source material. They were all over it. I mean, just think about it, Paul. We got real, legitimate source material in this movie.
Just the amount of Easter eggs they were able to drop into this film were tremendous. Even the montage with all the different Wolverines. One of the comments that was constantly made towards the X-Men franchise since 2000 was Hugh Jackman's way too tall. We need a comics accurate Wolverine, which is like 5'4". Hugh Jackman's 6'4". Literally a 12-inch difference. And they did it. They said, all right, this is what your complaint is? Let's show you what a 5'4" Wolverine looks like and tell me if that looks good on screen.
Yeah, that was funny, man. That was funny.
I mean, that was hilarious. And at the same time, making a point like, get over your foolishness, fandom. I mean, it is what it is.
The fanboys caught a lot of strays. I think some of the stuff that they said in the movie, people are gonna have to go back and watch it again to kind of catch it. He kind of Ryan Reynolds' character Deadpool. He kind of hit the fanboys like once or twice, I want to say. But yeah, man, that was a great film. I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna say something that maybe a lot of people may disagree with, but when they showed Henry Cavill, that could work for me. If Marvel would say, "Hey, Henry Cavill, come do this for us," I can't say I would have any problems with it. I've seen him play a villain before. We saw it in the Mission Impossible movie. He can do a villain.
Yeah. I tell you what. Speaking of villains, old girl, ooh, that's a big bad, bro.
Cassandra Nova, and they actually took a lot of stuff from the comic books with that. I was surprised with that. Even the hand through the brain thing, which is kind of like
that's
a figurative thing they did in the comics.
That's that aliens type stuff, bro. That's good. Yeah, that was that. I mean, think about it. She really, they couldn't do nothing with her. Nothing at all. That's what you have, but that's what you call casting a good villain. I mean, and she was serious. It wasn't, even though Deadpool was cracking us up the whole time or whatever, she was dead serious about what she was trying to do. I enjoyed this movie, bro. I know I said when I thought this movie came out, it wasn't gonna make $1 billion, but of course that's me not knowing how funny this movie was. So yeah, it's gonna hit $1 billion.
The next question is, does this movie revitalize the MCU?
No. And the reason why I say no is because it's its own thing. The Deadpool franchise is literally its own thing. And while it's, I just, the reason why the Deadpool thing works is because it's not tethered to the MCU stuff. It's not tethered to all of this other stuff. We got to do this so we can make this happen. We got to do that. You literally are in almost in a different place or whatever, or a different part of the multiverse, if you want to say it like that. But what's next? That's the question.
Well, I agree with you that I don't think it revitalizes the MCU, but for a different reason. Because they could always say, we're going to make everything that happened in Deadpool canon because we're dealing with the multiverse. I think, for me, what shows that this will not revitalize the MCU was the fact that they had the San Diego Comic-Con announcements subsequent to the release of this movie, which showed they're not learning the lessons from Deadpool and Wolverine. The slate of films that they have for me personally were underwhelming. The reveal of Robert Downey Jr. coming back to play Doctor Doom was stupid, in my opinion. And I know people may disagree. Some people may be excited to see RDJ come back. I'm not as Doctor Doom. If they wanted to do RDJ to bring back and make him a villain, the comics always give you the guideline. Bring him back as Superior Iron Man, where Tony Stark becomes evil. He becomes the egomaniac, narcissistic person to the nth degree, and becomes a full villain. That makes sense. Why would you waste one of the most important villains in the Marvel Universe on a variant or have RDJ? There are plenty of actors
I gotta say,
to play Doctor Doom.
You're right. I gotta say, but what I gotta say though about that is, I'm very much intrigued. I thought that when I heard the announcement that he was going to be Doom, I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, from the MCU or the MCU lore, whatever, Iron Man is quote unquote dead. So any way to bring him back, and I get it, it's comics. I'm all for. Now him playing Doom, I don't think it's a waste. But that's the problem with. I said this about a year ago that I hated the multiverse because it's confusing. You're in places right now where this is literally confusing. Some people like it, some people don't like it. I saw some stuff today that had me laughing. And I'll ask you guys about this because some people were upset and said that this casting of Doom is whitewashing because Dr. Doom is not white. I'm like, he's from an Eastern European fictional country.
How's he not white?
It gets no whiter than that's my point. That's my point.
I mean, look, his mother was a gypsy, so she's of the Roma people, but he's never been portrayed as anything other than white. It's just that's
my point.
People make those comments. People don't read comic books. Those people don't read comics. I don't really care what they say.
And again, I don't think it's I see you, Phil. I don't necessarily think it's a waste of the character. I mean, look, these guys are late. The MCU, the Fantastic Four should have been here. The X-Men should have been here. Dr. Doom should have been here. And let's keep it real. They've already been here, but they have not been here under Disney. They've been here under Fox. So, again, what was wrong with? Think about this here. We remember the Fantastic Four movie, Rise of the Silver Surfer, right? Doom was in that. Anybody complain about the portrayal of Doom in that? I thought the Doom in that was okay. Y'all say y'all want, you can't mess up this character, whatever. I need to, let me speak to my brethren out here. All of you 616 purists. Chill. And if nothing else, understand that they brought back not only Robert Downey Jr. is what I'm calling. Y'all call him by his initial. I'm gonna call him Clay. They also brought back the Russo brothers, who's gonna be directing Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Now that's the best news to come out of San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah, the Russo brothers are the MCU. The Russo brothers and Jon Favreau are the MCU.
Yeah.
That's the smartest decision that Feige has made in this latest reveals, bringing those two guys back. Particularly for Secret Wars, which is the most important project the MCU has coming up, because that will reboot the entire MCU. Quite possibly with all new actors, if they so choose to go in that direction, which honestly would be my preference. I want it to be a full reset. I want brand new actors for everything. Bring back all the characters you want. Create all new characters. I want a completely new MCU rebooted from that point. That's me personally.
Yeah.
I think that's a tremendous opportunity because people get older, you know. You can start with fresh, youthful Iron Man and a new Captain America, and most important to me, a new Black Panther, and it not be a variant. I don't want a variant. I want the entire universe to be rebooted and have T'Challa be a natural part of the new universe.
See, now Mark Robinson's comment says the X-Men can stay off the screen a little longer. Fox messed them up for a long time, in my opinion.
They did.
I will say that. Here's
this Deadpool movie shows they can do it.
Look, Mark and Derek and Paul and all of y'all in the chat. I need y'all. I keep saying this, but y'all don't listen to me. I'm old, bro. And I don't have another 10 years. Do you really think I'm going to be caring about the X-Men and who's in the MCU in 10 years? Dude, I'll be in my mid-60s. I'm just saying. Listen, you know how women have a biological clock? Well, I have a biological and a neurological clock that says, dude, you're not going to be caring about this in 10 years. They don't have 10, I don't have 10 years. Now, I want to be here in 10 years, of course, but I don't think I'll have the same diet. I'll be eating, my popcorn have to have fiber in it, Paul. I'm gonna have to have some Metamucil. I'm gonna have to take multiple breaks to go to the restroom to watch the movie. I'm not gonna be able to enjoy. I'm not be able to enjoy this now. So I need them to get to it. I don't have 10 years, y'all. We can wait a little bit long. We can wait a bit long. No, we can't. No, we can't. But anyway, y'all.
I have an interesting perspective that came from my daughter about the movie.
Okay.
Keep in mind she's not a comic book fan. I've tried to get her to read them, but she doesn't care for them. But she has watched most of the MCU shows and movies, and I would say over the past 2 years, her level of interest in going to watch the next movie has just gone down and down. She's just not excited about it anymore. She just turned 18 in July, and she wanted to see Deadpool. So I said, okay, I'll take you to see Deadpool. I said, it's not like the other MCU movies. I warn you about that, right? She loved it. And when she left the theater, not knowing much about Deadpool, not knowing much about maybe the Easter eggs or anything else, what she said was, I wish the other movies were this fun. The other Marvel MCU movies were this fun. So that was, how she felt coming out of that movie. Not even having a great appreciation for all the Easter eggs, comments, and jokes. It was a lot of fun to her compared to the previous MCU movies. So
I think that's beautiful, bro, because that's really what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be entertainment for anybody that's a quote unquote movie fan or whatever, just going to the theater, eating some popcorn and drinking a soda or having a beer or whatever, and just enjoying the show. I mean, I remember when I went to go see Iron Man. I was a comic head, of course, but I went to go see Iron Man. I had no real thought as to what I was going to see on screen when I went to see that movie. I wasn't in places or spaces like this talking about, man, I need them to do this with Iron Man. I need Tony Stark to do this. I literally went in, blind, sat there, watched the movie or whatever, enjoyed it for what it was, and thought it was the best thing since sliced cheese at the time. I didn't know it was going to get better, progressively or whatever. But what we have gotten in between that movie and where we are now is a lot of filler and a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with the source material and a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with moving this thing forward. It's literally like, okay, I'm going to swap characters. I'm going to race swap. I'm going to gender swap. And people know these movies for more of that than anything. Just like the movie The Eternals. I don't think anyone can really tell us or speak to what The Eternals was about, other than that they swapped a lot of people and race swapped a lot of people, and it was just a hot mess at the end of the day. It was stuff like that, and then the acting as if being a superhero wasn't the thing to be. That's one of the things I loved about this Wolverine Deadpool movie. These guys wanted to be heroes. They didn't take it as a joke. Shout out to She-Hulk. They didn't for real. That's kind of the premise of what that show was. I enjoyed it like everybody else, but don't get it twisted. I definitely heard what they were saying. But in this movie, you got to see these guys. They wanted to matter. Remember, Wolverine said, I'm the worst Wolverine that there ever was. And Wade Wilson, he just wanted to be accepted. He just wanted to be a part of the team. What's wrong with that? I mean, I think that the core values of superheroes got lost along the way. And that's why a movie like this could definitely energize the franchise, whatever. But will they even go or lean into that? I don't know. We seem to have more love for anti-heroes and for villains than we actually do for superheroes. So, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what to expect from the Dooms. We were supposed to get Armor Wars. They killed that.
Was that mentioned at all at the Marvel?
No.
Hey, what about Ironheart? Was Ironheart mentioned?
No.
No Ironheart. Oh, okay.
And they finished wrapping that. We don't even know when we're gonna get that.
But at least we have Black Panther 3. Wait, hold on. No. No Black Panther 3, no Armor Wars, no Ironheart. And we know they finished any Blade news? Any Blade news?
That's the one, Rich, that you need to be worried about. You might need a time machine to see that one.
No, you know what? I'm good. Because I can rewatch Blade 1 and 2 with my man Wesley Snipes. I can rewatch his scenes in Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm good.
No,
the fact that
to be fair, Blade 3 now has a little ring to it. Because you gotta know, you gotta remember.
There's a third one?
Hold on. You gotta remember.
I didn't know there was a third one.
This is how Ryan Reynolds got into the MCU. It was through playing Hannibal King in Blade 3. And what does he do? He gives Wesley a layup, brings him back. That's a full circle moment. This movie had a lot of shade in it, but it also had a lot of fulfilling moments. Somebody brought up about Gambit earlier. Louisiana Kid, I saw your comment. Listen, I was happy to see Blade, but no, Channing Tatum's Gambit, bro, that was hilarious.
He's been trying to Gambit for at least 10 years. He has actively been trying to play Gambit for at least 10 years. The amount of shade that he threw Marvel, like, wow, it's like I finally had the opportunity to show people what I could do. It was just, he made comments like that.
He's been storing that accent. That accent.
Oh my God. Ready. So Louisiana Kid, you're from Louisiana. You said that accent. How was that accent? Did you find it to be accurate to a Cajun?
Oh no, that was brutal. That was brutal.
He says, "Me
I'd have
being
been
from, I
around.
don't understand what you're saying."
I'd have been around some Louisiana people. That was brutal. The Cajun people. He tried his best. I'll say it like that. But yeah. I just dug his hair. His hair. That was.
So there's one thing I saw a video that kind of talked about some of the things that Ryan Reynolds did.
Louisiana Kennedy said it was spot on.
It was spot on. Yeah. For the Cajuns or whatever, you got the serious thing about Louisiana. You got the Cajuns and you got the Creole people. He's Cajun, so it definitely goes, on that side of it. But I thought it was still brutal.
I also love the fact they got his costume right. What were you saying, Derek?
I was watching a video over the weekend, and I don't know if all this is correct or not, but Ryan Reynolds had to do a lot of subversive things to get control of the Deadpool character. Because when he first played Deadpool, it was completely different, right?
Oh, it was terrible.
And what I heard in the video was that he basically had to, he wrote a script, he leaked it, he did a whole lot of stuff to get fan support to kind of push Fox in the first place to do Deadpool his way. And if he hadn't done that, then we wouldn't have this whole Deadpool series we have, and we definitely wouldn't have had this last movie that we had. So I don't know how much credit. I honestly don't know how much credit to give to Disney versus how much really just belongs to Ryan Reynolds, and the fact that he seems to understand the character, he knows what people like, and he must be an awesome writer. At the same
Not just
time.
a writer, but however he convinced, he must know where some skeletons are buried with some execs at Disney for him to pull off what he did, getting Disney to make it an R-rated film and throw promotion behind it. There's a lot of promotion behind this movie.
But Disney
spent money on. Huh?
They're desperate though. They're desperate. I think they
Well,
needed
yeah.
it.
Yes, I think that was a combination of two things. They were desperate. They needed a hit. They desperately needed a hit. But going to your point, Derek, I think that Ryan Reynolds is all intents and purposes, I won't say he's the biggest comic head, but clearly he is a comic head. This is a guy who's played Green Lantern. This is a guy who's played Hannibal King. And of course, now he's Deadpool. The stuff that he's done with Deadpool, the Deadpool in the comics is not as raw, could be, but the Deadpool in the comics is very, kind of playful, more playful, that type way, but very violent still, but not always exactly the same. But the Deadpool that he plays would be like Deadpool. If it was a Max series, it would be that. It wouldn't be the Deadpool that we know from the comics. But I think that his personality, the not the obscurity of the character, because I can't say that the character hasn't been popular. The character is very popular, but it's more of the people that like Deadpool is like a cult following almost. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, because for all intents and purposes, he's a mutant, but he's a mutant that's kind of on the outside of the X-Men. So he's literally been a character that's kind of been like there on the fringes. He shows up in X-Force or whatever. Shout out to Geoffrey Thorne. But for the most part, he's his own character, his own entity inside of the Marvel universe. So to me, if he did that, one, he's got skills, and two, he's got clear relationships. Dude is a machine. Now I will say this. Speaking of his role in Deadpool, what'd you guys think of Nice Pool?
I couldn't wait for him to die.
Canadian.
He had the long hair flowing. That was hilarious, bro. That was hilarious. But yeah,
I think he was even wearing sandals or something like that too.
Yeah.
He was like wearing sandals with socks.
When I first saw him, I didn't even realize it was Ryan Reynolds. It took me, 30 seconds before I realized it was.
Did you realize the woman Deadpool was his wife?
Yeah, I knew that.
Ryan Reynolds' wife.
And
they said the baby. They said the baby pool
his
was
two
his
kids.
baby too.
oh, really?
Yeah, those are his kids in the movie. Yeah.
So they gonna all get a check. They all gonna get a check, a Marvel check.
That's how you do
I
it.
ain't mad at that. Shout out to my man. He getting money going, coming and going. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I made a
Oh,
mistake.
he made money on the movie. He's an executive producer, writer, actor, and he has his family. He's gonna get some checks off this film.
Yeah, I made a mistake 5 minutes before the movie started. I don't know why. I pulled up my phone and I pulled up Internet Movie Database just to look at the ratings, to see what the ratings were. And then I saw that Wesley Snipes was in it. So that got spoiled for me. I had done a good job not getting spoiled until 5 minutes before. And I just wasn't thinking about what I was doing. So do you,
Did Chris Evans
Von
play Human Torch
Porel,
again?
you looking for a spoiler on that?
We already spoiled a bunch of other stuff.
But I mean, look, if you had not seen the movie, we may have talked about some things, but bruh, go see the movie. That's all I'm gonna say. Go see
Louisiana
Kid
spoiled something else.
Yeah.
Louisiana Kid always got the spoilers, man.
I hate Sabretooth died so early in the movie. Stop, bro.
There's another one. Okay, just if you don't want to get spoiled, don't read the.
Don't read the chat. Stay out the chat.
Yeah.
The chat needs a disclaimer.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was a dope. That was a dope movie. Let's transition. Let's talk about Paul. Them Thrones.
I knew that's what you wanted to talk about.
Woo! Them thrones, them thrones, them thrones. Let me tell you something.
Bruh.
This show is so damn gangster.
Listen, y'all watched years ago when Vince Carter won the dunk contest, and he had a dunk where he hung his arm in the net, and after he finished the dunk, he said, "It's over." He just did like this. It's over. The last episode, I don't know what they're gonna do on the other side, but Rhaenyra Targaryen it's over. So
let me share my screen with you. I'm gonna share some memes that I pulled up. Hold on.
I saw the one with Ice Cube. That was crazy.
Henceforth known as Sea Smoke of Drip Mark, aka the Smoke, as in we'll take all.
That's funny. That one there.
Ice Cube.
That one there.
If you wanted to summarize the last episode, this is the picture. This summarizes the whole episode right here.
And we only got what?
There's more. There's some more.
There was one more, wasn't there?
Well, I was gonna say there's more. Some more.
Where's the other
dragons.
one? Hold on. I had another one here somewhere. Oh, this one.
Yep.
The draft.
But there's still one more coming up. They held out for one.
There's another one?
Yeah. Was the
what
one
you talking
that ate all
about?
the sheep? The one that ate the sheep. I forget the name of the dragon.
Oh yeah, there's one more dragon coming.
Yeah, there's one more.
Sheep
one more
stealer.
rider getting picked
Sheep
up.
stealer.
Yeah, sheep stealer. That's it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's weird though, man. Watching this show, it morphed. When the season first started, it was started off real good or whatever. Then that next episode, it got kind of crazy. They was in a brothel, and I'm like, bruh, I know it's HBO, but come on. So, but then the show started to like really get into gear with the dragons or whatever, and it's been pretty good, bro. Pretty
The show's
good.
better than the
I
original
can't
Game of
front.
Thrones, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I honestly
Because-
enjoy it better than the original Game of Thrones.
Yeah, because it literally looked like that Rhaenyra was on the outs. That it was done. She was over. It was like she sending everybody on a fool's errand. It just did not look good. Now we get to this past episode. It's 3 of them. and there's another one more to go. But old boy was like, he told Vagar, let's go back, retreat.
That's the first time we saw Eamon have any fear on his face.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a well done scene where he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take this other dude out, take out this other dragon because I'm riding Vagar." Then he pulls up, and somehow Eamon, with his one eye, was able to see in the distance. Yeah, I need to turn this around. Let me make this U-turn right quick. Let me bones out because I ain't trying to get smoked today.
They should have had old boy with the patch on his. He removed the patch. Be like, is that what I'm
That's what they should have done.
Yeah. I gotta say, this has been pretty good. Now, Phil says Paul Smoking definitely not better than the original, but it's entertaining. Oh well, we won't say that it's entertaining. I mean, you literally got what, 6 seasons or whatever. We really can't even count the last season. But anyway, it's only season 2. This is probably going to go about five seasons at the most, I'm guessing. I don't think it's going to go past 5. But what I'm interested in is the situation with the Valerians. Okay, for those that don't know, the black folk in the Game of Thrones, or in the House of Dragon, I should say. So the situation with them is Seasmoke is not Seasmoke. What's his name?
Corlys?
Yes, Corlys. Corlys is he been dipping. He been dipping all over. And he got all these illegitimate children. I'm just like, ain't nobody.
That's kind of a criticism. That's kind of a criticism because my man's out here getting his side pieces. He's a deadbeat dad. So you got another black man being a deadbeat dad. But to be fair, there's a lot of bastards and deadbeat dads in the whole Game of Thrones.
In the Game of Thrones, yeah.
It is just part of the culture. He just happens to be black who's doing the same thing. He at least acknowledges it, talks to his sons. Which is more than Robert Baratheon could say, or any other bastards or fathers or whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna see is the other son gonna be a dragon rider, the one whose hair is actually white and he hides it.
We don't know. That might be what we find out next week. But like I said, we only got one more episode, so
only one more episode. That's the thing about frustrates me about this series, though. You got to wait 2 years for the next season.
It is what it is, bro.
2 years.
I told you, you're getting old.
You're getting old. We all getting old, man. I can't wait 2 years.
Well, look, back to Phil's comment. I have a hard time comparing the 2 shows because one show was world building. I can't say it had a particular aim, and it was as great as it was all over the place. And there's like 50 different storylines going on at once, right?
Yeah.
And then you have House of the Dragon, and it's more focused. And it's staying within a certain set of rails, and you know what direction, and everything is related to this rising action that's happening. And I kind of like it for that because I can focus and keep on target versus Game of Thrones. I didn't know when I was watching filler. The world building was great, but it was well acted, well casted, but you get to the point where, okay, as soon as you run past where George R. R. Martin is written, what are we doing now? Nobody knew.
And the other point that you point out, to its credit, as you said, Game of Thrones had to do the world building. It did all the heavy lifting so that House of Dragons didn't have to regurgitate establishing the world. But when you're watching the first episode of House of Dragon, you already know what this world is. When they say Targaryen, you know who that is. When they say dragons, it's not a shock that there's dragons.
Plus, there is an outline.
It was a while before
there's an already written outline that they just have to fill in the lines. It's almost like generative AI.
Right.
You could almost give generative AI the outline and say, fill in the story for me. They didn't have that benefit once they got to a certain point with Game of Thrones.
Right.
So I can't compare the 2. I'm enjoying House of the Dragon more, but I think it's because I can my brain can
It's
focus on
it's more. It's
one
definitely
thing.
more focused.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot, and I think there's gonna be one or two more offshoot shows or whatever's gonna come behind this.
Yeah.
But you know, this is basically the the Targaryen line to the throne. This is where it starts, and so we're only getting one shot. We're not getting. I mean, I'm pretty sure that somebody's, if they haven't thought about it, or they may be doing it. I know there's going to be a Jon Snow show. I think there is going to be a show with him. But
I hope so. Can't wait 2 years.
Bro, it is what it is. That's all I can say. We got to wait this long. Somebody brought up, Richard Gutierrez. He asks, "Are we going to watch the second season, Lord of the Rings of Power?" We're going to watch it. I'll say this, and I said this on.
I liked it more than Rich did.
I'll say that. I'll say this. They did the smart thing. Shout out to Amazon for being smart and not trying to run neck and neck with the House of Dragon, like y'all did last.
They did the first time. Yeah, that was
2 years ago. Whenever this, y'all were literally getting trucked for no reason at all. It's like, okay, you want to watch, Kobe steak, and then Great Value steak.
Come on, man.
But you get some black hobbits. You have some black hobbits to watch. And so here's the thing. Seen the trailers.
Leave my black hobbits alone.
Like a 4-hour trailer. And it's 4 minutes really. But only one black person. I think they killed the black hobbit, the brother. He got killed in the first season. So I don't know how much the hobbits are going to be involved in this season, because they're focusing more or less on the elves and these rings, and then what they're weighing, and of course the situation with Sauron. I'm going to watch it because it's there to watch. But am I expecting something phenomenal to come out of it? Probably not. We'll talk about it here. I'll laugh at Paul and his black hobbits. I'm pretty sure we might see a black elf.
I got no problems with the black hobbits.
We'll probably have a black elf.
Rich and I disagree on this. I have no problems seeing black people in a fantasy world. It's fantasy. Anybody.
I mean, but it's not based on short black people. They're called pygmies. Why they gotta be
call them pygmies? I don't care. It's a fantasy world. We don't have elves. I mean, like, it's fantasy. It's fantasy.
Oh, I forgot. We do have a black elf. We do have a black elf.
It is fantasy. We're talking about fantasy. It's whatever your mind can come up with.
3 feet tall. Do you hear this, Derek? We fantasize about being 3 feet tall, living in a little, living in a hole in the mountain. That's what we do.
I have no problems with them being more inclusive with a fantasy genre.
I understand. I know that.
It's different if they're like, hey, let's do an African king in ancient Europe or something like that. I mean, I get how there might be pushback on that, but this is literally fantasy, so I have no problems with that. I think it's well timed that they do this, that the show comes out after Game of Thrones is in, House of Dragons ended, because all those people, all of us who need that fix, will have an alternative fantasy to watch.
Yeah. Corliss is going to be out the building by that time. So,
the huge milestone announcement.
Yeah,
that was big stuff, man. Shout out to Joe Illich.
Listen,
that man can keep a secret because he was on us. He was on us channel just a few weeks ago, and he didn't say Nathan to us about that.
He couldn't.
Other than, I have a big announcement that you guys are going to be happy about.
I'm glad that he's back. Milestone is back, and I'm glad he's writing on Spawn as well. He's doing big things. I'm happy for that brother, because at one time when he was over at Heavy Metal, and he was trying to do some work over there, some good work, matter of fact, with Christopher Priest, they kind of they stopped that book. Only one issue came out of that book, and they canceled it. They didn't even give it a chance, and then I guess they went to a corporate restructuring or something. I don't know. All I know is
Entropy,
that
I think the name of the book was.
yeah, Entropy. I have the book, so I'm glad I got it. You know what I'm saying? Independent title with a black writer on it and a black editor, so I'm not tripping. So shout out to the Godfather for that. But yeah, we happy that Milestone is finally back. You know what I'm saying? Well, I talked about it Sunday night. Glad to see them back. I really, really am. With them coming back with Shadow Cabinet, I thought that the Shadow Cabinet was going to show up at some point, but I didn't think they were going to put them out front like this. So it's a welcome surprise or whatever, you know, and I'm grateful that they still find value in Milestone, because we were wondering for the longest. We're still wondering.
We're still wondering, but at least something's coming out. At least we know the company is not defunct.
Yes.
Which was the fear.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that we'll get that book in November the 5th. So please, when the pre-order goes up, make sure you pre-order, put that on your pull list. So yeah, but see, and I was excited for that, but the biggest announcement I was excited for was the Dennis Cowan art book. That's what I was excited about.
Yeah.
So
that will be pre-ordered as soon as it drops. My goal is to not only have this book, but to go to get it signed by Mr. Cowan. Yeah. That would be goals for me.
Brooklyn says, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I mean, I will travel to get that done.
Brooklyn says, fellas, we have to check out African myths, just like we found out about the African vampires. Yeah. I mean, don't get it twisted. Anne Rice wrote about. I mean, the original vampires were Egyptian, Akasha and Enkidu. In her lore, you know, she wrote, of course, the what is it? The
Queen of the
Vampire Chronicles. The Vampire Chronicles. And you know, Lestat. Interview with the Vampires is the thing. And they're doing the show or whatever, right? I think on AMC now. But she wrote about that years ago. The African quote unquote influence. But you know, I mean, nothing new under the sun. That's anything. So, you know.
There was a dope comic book several years ago called The Pack, done by Midas Monkey Publishing, that had to do with African werewolves from ancient Egypt or Nubia. It might have been actually. It might not be an easy book to find, but if you can find it, I highly recommend that book. I think it's a really untapped market, as big as horror is becoming right now. I think something tapping into that whole genre of ancient Africa being the source of where many of these horrors come from, our traditional horror figures, characters would be a untapped a well of potential.
I mean,
the Cowan book's not ready yet.
Yeah, no, it's not. We'll get the Kickstarter or the crowdfunding information on that when it's available. The thing about horror is there's a lot of horror that's available, but the question is, how much of it will be good? Versus just because you have a lot of something does not necessarily mean all of it's going to be good.
Not everybody can be Rodney Barnes.
Yeah, somebody today posted the Shook book and asked what we thought about it in the Facebook group, and which was our favorite stories or whatever. And if it was John Jennings, it's probably who wrote, I think, was it The Breaks? Is the story he wrote in Shook. That's probably my most favorite. The Rodney Barnes one joint. Kevin Greavy's story was pretty cool too. But The Breaks stands out for me as far as the Shook book goes. And you know, there's going to be The Sirens is going to be the next book with all, you know, Black women writers. So there's a lot of different things that's going. You know, we just got the word that 20 Plus Rigor is going to be in a comic book. Pre-orders, I think, start in September. We got that. We got the Sheriff Gatlin stuff that's coming. And these are all things that were on his Substack. So I'm so glad
I'm so enlightened to hear Rich talk about the pre-orders that I posted up.
I try.
And you also have his Batman werewolf series.
Yeah. Blood Moon coming out in October. It's a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff. So sis, do we know how zombies truly started? I mean, you know, you go talk to the people down in Louisiana, they might be able to tell you something. I'm just saying. So, you know, listen, all of that stuff is a lot of stuff, guys. There's if you like going down rabbit holes, I'll say it like this. If you like going down rabbit holes, there are different books that you can go to the bookstore like Barnes and Noble and get. There's African fables that you can read. There are Afro-Gothic horror stories that you can read readily, that you can go to the bookstore, Barnes and Noble particularly, and go buy. There's a market for horror for sure, but I say, how much of it will kind of stand out? Because it seems that right now, Rodney Barnes is the guy right now. He's been doing a lot of stuff in regards to the horror genre. I'm interested to see what comes out of not the stuff that he's already done, but what he's got cooking. Because the Run Food podcast is pretty dope. The comic book stuff that he's doing is pretty dope. I can't wait to see Philadelphia when it finally gets to screen. That's what I'm waiting on. So did anyone get a copy of Rock and Roll Biographies, Run DMC today?
I didn't see it in the stores. I think I pre-ordered it though.
He said Haiti is where it all started. Makes sense. Many of the people that from Louisiana traveled from Haiti. So
yeah,
it's and that's the thing about the African diaspora is very diverse in thought, in religious practice, in different. I mean, it's a lot, y'all. You know, suffice to say that, you know, hey, it's a lot that could be mined out of that. Shout out to your man Patrick Hawkins, who's picked up Devil's Dominion, issue number 6, I think it's coming out.
Brian Hawkins, yeah,
Brian
he's got Devil's Dominions coming back out. First of all, they're re-releasing the books that came out before, but then they're also continuing the series. So he's doing a lot of good work, particularly for, I think, Black Box Comics. Doing a lot of good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right, fellas, I got to get some rest. My wife is calling me, kids calling me. They're saying, Daddy, why are you still talking to them fools? Why are you letting Rich talk to you like that?
I told you what I was trying to do, but you want to keep talking to Jeff about books that we'll never see.
I didn't raise those questions. The chat raised those questions.
Look,
I was done with his interview after an hour.
I get it, bro. I get it. But
he's trying to blame me for all of y'all's questions.
I love Jeff, but talking to Jeff frustrates me because Jeff is going to always give you some stuff that you'll never see.
Well, that man's got so much tea. He's got so much, you know.
He got a gang of it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He could sell it. How much he got, you know what I'm saying? And me personally, when he was telling the story about the John Stewart stuff and what he was gonna do, I'm like, man, take that and make it your own. Create a new character and do something.
That's what I wanted. I didn't get to talk to him about that. Jeff, if you watch this, indies, man, do your own thing, brother. That's
just do your own thing. You know what I'm saying? And then
relabel the names, change the names around, and just do your own thing, man. Because your ideas are too brilliant to waste at these.
And if somebody that's really big or really knows the process of Kickstarter and all that, y'all hit Geoffrey Thorne up, help him with that process, because I know that's something that's different. And so everybody's not wanting to always be comfortable doing certain things. He says he's getting ready to start his own Kickstarter. But what I'm getting at is that if you know the ins and outs, shout out to Tony Cottrell, y'all holler at that bro and help him to get, because he's got a lot of stuff, bro, that we need.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
I think it's incumbent upon us. We might need to make some introductions and hook Jeff up with some of these people that we know and get him to do some work together, collaborations, because that's way too much talent to be wasted.
Too much talent, too much story, bro. I'm listening to this stuff. And we was talking to him. I was like, okay, that's dope. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. We'll never see it. And shout out to DC.
Hey, shout out to Marwan
for being dumb constantly. That's what DC stands for. Dumb constantly. But anyway, right. Jeff is our guy, so we're a little biased here at Black Comic Lords. But yo, ladies and gentlemen,
one quick thing. This is for Paul. Blatant flex of the week.
Hey,
that's not a flex, dude. Everybody's got that book. Come on, man.
Second print.
That's a dollar bin book.
Not no more.
I will give you credit. You should be able to sell it to them fools speculating on that ridiculous book. You can make $300 easily.
I did put up on eBay. We'll see what happens. You know,
that is such bad spec. People are just idiots.
Hey, look, bro,
I've been sitting on this one for years.
Look. I was thinking to myself, when that book's first, when they made the announcement, then I start seeing the little books pop up here and there. And I just think Herschel was somewhere.
Oh, Herschel was excited. He was excited. This is what Herschel lives for.
The speculators have finally got something to speculate. Here's the thing, though. A first appearance of Shuri, 9.8. Shout out to Rico Jones. He posted this. There was a sale for I think a 9.8. First appearance of Shuri. It went for under $100.
Yep.
And that goes to show you how expensive these books can be and how far they can fall.
That was an $800 book at one point in time.
Yeah. And that's crazy.
Sell your books. Sell your Invincible Iron Man, Superior Iron Man, Infamous Iron Man books now. That's all I gotta say.
Absolutely.
Make your money now.
Now's the time.
That is not good spec.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it's not good spec.
You're supposed to keep that on the hush. You gotta let the players play, Paul.
All right, yeah. Y'all do with that information what you will.
If you want, I have some extras. If you want some, though, just reach out to me. I got the action figure variant too.
Iron Man.
Okay. Figure variant of it.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's the.
I will say this. The reason why I have so many problems with a lot of spec people is a lot of y'all don't actually read the books. In one respect, it might actually be good spec, because Infamous Iron Man isn't just about Dr. Doom becoming Iron Man. There's also a huge storyline with Ironheart in there.
Yep. Yeah.
So the smart play would be to connect this Iron Man Doom connection to the Armor Wars story. Not Armor Wars, the Ironheart series that's coming out. If they can make that connection, then it'll be better than trash spec. I will say that.
This is my dog.
It may be good spec. It may be good spec, but not for the reasons that you may think. It may actually be good Ironheart spec to have those books.
Mello decided to make a guest appearance, and he said all spec is gone to the dogs. So, y'all, man, all I know is that the speculators have not had nothing to speculate about. So there's a lot of conversation about this, and so I'm happy for them in some regards. But to your point, Paul, that book is spiked for no reason. We don't even know if that's the storyline that they're going to use. But hey, RDJ shows up, everybody goes crazy, and yeah, they often speculate. Mark Vaughn says, "Who's the little buddy?" This is Mello. His name is after Carmelo Anthony, and he's my buddy. This little guy here, and I'm gonna shut up. This little guy here nursed me, helped me nurse back to health. When I was doing chemotherapy treatment, all he would do was crawl up in my lap while I was asleep. And yeah, so this is my buddy here. So, man's best friend. Can't be wrong if you're a cat person, that's cool. But man, ain't nothing like a dog, bro. You have the most jacked up day in the world, and a dog will just be happy to just see you. You know.
I don't trust cats.
You don't trust dogs, man?
I don't trust cats. Cats.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, you have to be a special kind of person to deal with cats. Because cats are very selective. They little creepy things. They like to crawl up on stuff, jump up on stuff. So.
And stare in your face as they do it. Cats are evil. I don't like cats.
Says the man who Black Panther's favorite character.
I am an enigma wrapped up in a riddle.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I really gotta go.
Yo,
all right.
Everybody.
Thank y'all. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel.
Thanks for the super chats. We'll see you guys Sunday night on Real Talk with Rich.
All right.
Well, y'all, I'll be in somewhere tropical with a drink in my hand. Hopefully, Black Comic Lords. We out.